Good morning, everybody. Yep, this is the Mike Missanelli Show. I'm doing this show under great duress. Not because I had back surgery yesterday, because something happened that I never thought would happen or could happen. The Phillies would lose their first round series, technically the second round of the playoffs, in 4 games to the New York Mets. Why? Well, because the Mets were the better team. Yep. I can't believe I'm saying that. The Mets were the better team in this series. And you know why? Because the Mets had better balance in their lineup. And the Phillies were top-heavy, and their top wasn't even that heavy. So when we look at this game and we look at the series, you can look at a lot of things. You want some Grizzly numbers here? Well, first of all, let's go with this. To be sure, their bullpen folded up into fatigue. I don't know what happened. They completely lost it. Maybe it was the break. I don't know. As I've said many times, fatigue makes you what? It makes you a coward. And in the end, this is the most hurtful of it all. Bill was right about the lack of an offense carrying over from last year and catching up to them certainly after the All-Star break. And yes, the GM didn't do enough at the trading deadline. So let's look at some of the numbers here. The Phillies yesterday, in a must-win situation, were 4 for 31, with 2 of those hits being infield hits. They were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They hit 186 for the series. The bullpen gave up 16 earned runs in 11.2 innings with a 12.34 ERA. They were outscored in their 3 losses 17-5. And now we're going to look at all these at-bats and all the feeble at-bats when the Phillies got in good hitters counts. They couldn't do anything. And then they got themselves in bad hitters counts the whole game by swinging at pitches without discipline. So where does this leave the Phillies? I don't know. You know, we talk about a window of opportunity, a window of winning a championship. I don't know. Has this gone out the window? There's going to have to be changes. You can't just come back with the same thing. You got to mix some stuff up. So I don't know what they're going to do. They have all these long-term contracts. They're paying a lot of money to people. What are they going to do with their bullpen now? They thought they had a good bullpen. It turned out they didn't have a good bullpen. And the other team's bullpen, who we thought was inferior, weathered the storm for the Mets. The Mets were a hungry team. The Phillies were not. The whole gang is here. Bill Colarulo, Ray Dunn, as in the Phillies are done. Bill Colarulo, you are correct. It carried over from last year's playoffs. It carried over from the week off. And it carried over from bad baseball after the All-Star break. Your thoughts, my friend?
Well, first of all, good morning, Mike. Thanks for coming in today, battling through the injury so that we could talk about this. I don't have any joy in the fact that I was, quote-unquote, right. I wish that we were sitting here today talking about a big Game 5 tomorrow night with Zach Wheeler on the mound. But what the problem was that I saw after the All-Star break, and we've talked about it a lot on this show, is I think the manager and the president of baseball operations, Dave Dombrowski, allowed complacency and a losing culture to set in with this team. This team that was a phenomenal baseball team. Sports don't work this way, Mike. You know this. You know that you can't allow complacency and a losing mindset to fester in a clubhouse. And that's what they did. I don't want to talk about the 5th starter, but they did accept a loss every 5 days. The manager didn't want to hold a lot of players accountable. We've talked about it at length. Rob Thompson is a baseball guy. He's going to try to keep these guys comfortable. Well, maybe that's not what they needed. Maybe they needed a kick in the rear end. Maybe they did need, we had a caller yesterday say, throw in water coolers. Maybe that's what they needed. But I know for a fact, when you look at the GM, they definitely needed some more bats in the outfield. You can't have your center fielder and your left fielder as your 8 and 9 hole hitters in a lineup that you expect to win a World Series. You just can't. Not when your catcher is hitting the way JT is now. You need to get production from your outfielders. It's a sad day, and you're right. Is the window now closing on this team? Do we now have to worry the entire regular season? We've talked about this, the Negadelphia mentality. Can we even enjoy this team next year during the regular season, or have they become the 76ers where it's now wake us up in October? Because no matter how good of a start they have next year, you know this is going to be festering in that Negadelphia mindset that we already have.
I don't have anything to refute. I don't have any counter argument to what's happening, because I was really, I guess, conned into thinking that they were going to be fine, that they're a good team, and we're shortchanging their abilities. But it was clear when you look at the Mets lineup and how they play offense and the way the Phillies do, it was a complete mismatch. And I never thought I would see that. I never in a million years thought that the Mets would be the better team. And I guess when you lose the odd games in the series, you're cooked. You got to win game 1. You got to win game 3. They didn't do either. And last night, listen, you want to second guess what happened last night? We're going to go through. I'm going to go through all through these innings and go over these at-bats and where they failed. But also, you look at the big bullpen move that he made with Estevez having to come in there in a precarious situation because Hoffman was just blown out. And you can tell he had no command. He threw 2 balls in the dirt. When he hit Marte, that was where I would have got him. Now, I don't know if Estevez would have done any better in that situation, but you had to bring him in with the bases loaded when it was clear Hoffman was done. He was cooked.
Would you have allowed Hoffman to come out in the 6th?
Yeah, I would have allowed him to come out in the 6th, but once he lost command in the 6th inning, I would have got him out there a lot quicker than he did. He let him after runners were first and second. He let him out there. It was clear that he had nothing.
Yeah, because he comes out in the 6th, which I agree with. I was okay letting him do it, but he gives up a single, then a wild pitch, then a hit by pitch, then another wild pitch, then a walk, and then he takes him out. I mean, at what point did you not realize you got to get this guy out of there? After the first wild pitch, it was clear he has no control now this inning.
The 6th inning turned out to be the key inning because in the top of the 6th, Harper leads off with a double. And Castellanos strikes out. Now, you can say, on a bad pitch, by the way, now, you can say Castellanos, you can't blame him. He struck out. You got to put the ball in play there. You got to get him to third base somehow. And then he walked Bohm, and then a slider right down the middle to Real Muto, and he strikes out. And then Stott grounds out to end the inning. And then in the bottom of the 6th inning is where all the mayhem happens. He uses Hoffman in the 5th to get Alonso and Iglesias, and he comes back out with him in the 6th. Martinez hits the single up the middle. He goes to second on a wild pitch. That, to me, is the tip-off right there. He doesn't have command of that slider. It's in the dirt. So when he hits Marte, I got to get him. It's because he threw another wild pitch, and now it's second and third. And he walks Taylor, and the bases are loaded with nobody out, and here comes Alvarez.
Man, would you have brought in Estevez there? We could debate Hoffman getting out early.
I don't know who else I'm going to bring in. You're now trying to use your best guys. You think are your best guys in that situation, and so you brought Estevez in. I don't know. Is there a better choice? Did you want Wheeler to warm up? Is that who you wanted? You wanted Wheeler? Who did you want? Ruiz? Who did you want in that situation?
I guess you got to go Estevez. I mean, that's what I'm trying to think. Was there any better option? I wouldn't have brought in Wheeler there. I guess you could argue Sanchez, but he's a lefty, right? And you had...
Well, the lefty would have at least turned around Lindor, but then you're facing other righties in that lineup, so he would have had to pitch the 3 guys. I don't know. I'd rather have Lindor hitting from the right side than the left side because he cranked that off Estevez and a pitch right in the heat zone, a little bit off center, but he smoked it. And that's all she wrote. Now, again, you can look at it and go, well, yeah, if they score more runs, that doesn't matter. You're right. You're right. But at that point, you're trying to manage every out, and it didn't work out. But it didn't work out because this team obviously was flawed offensively.
They were. They were flawed offensively, and that bullpen, you mentioned what they did. Their 11.37 ERA is the 5th highest ever in postseason history.
Now, who had that on the bingo card, though?
Nobody.
The bullpen just did not deliver, and they expected to deliver. And I'm looking around baseball, and it looks like every bullpen delivers for these teams. And this was the bullpen that didn't deliver.
Did you see what the Dodgers did last night?
Yeah.
A shutout with 8 relievers.
Yeah. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. This is your day, man. I have no defense for the Phillies, so I'm not going to, whatever the fans are thinking right now, just let it fly, and we're prepared for it. It's the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The real and inside story on the Phillies is on the best show ever. Every Wednesday at 4:25. Jason's
I just want to go over some of these at bats here and their approaches. So in the first inning, I thought they had a good approach. Right? I'm thinking, I'm watching the first inning. I go, okay, well, here we go. Schwarber with a 1-1 count, foul ball before he struck out. Right? So he's working it a little bit. Turner, he's 1-2. Take. Fly out on a 3-2 pitch. Harper, 1-2. Take before he struck out. Second inning, Castellanos. Here's where it starts to go away. Castellanos, 2 pitches he saw. Ball and a foul out. Boom. 3 pitches. Grounded out on the third pitch.
Yeah, but that was a miracle, 3 pitches for Bohm.
Yeah, it was.
He was taking one.
Real Muto had a 6-pitch walk. Okay. Stock gets him into a 3-1 count. Takes the strike on 3-1. And then strikes out on a low sinker. Put himself in a bad spot. We go to the third inning. Weston Wilson, 1-1 count. He lines out to left. Okay, he hit it hard. Marsh gets a 2-0 count. They get him to ground out on a sinker. Schwarber, 7 pitches. Got it to 3-2. Good changeup he strikes out on. Let's go into the fourth inning. Turner, 7-pitch ground out. But he had him in a 3-1 count. He had him in an advantageous count. Foul ball on that pitch for strike 2. And he grounded out on a changeup low and away. Harper walk, Castellano doubles. All right. So now you got a 3-0 count on Bohm. He takes a strike. He hits the chopper. Again, Vientos can't handle the chopper. 1-0. They get it. So, but they didn't capitalize because on a 2-0 count, Real Muto flies out in an advantageous count, and Stott saw 3 pitches, and he flew out.
The frustrating thing with JT is this guy, is he on the downward side of his career? I mean, you thought with JT, obviously he's a great catcher behind the plate. Struggled at the plate. In this series, he batted 0, Mike. 0. Hit 0, wherever you want to say. Mm-hmm. 0.
He batted 0.
He batted 0. By the way, I also heard Ruben Amaro say batted, so I'm sticking with batted. But no, he batted 0. 0 for JT Realmuto, man. You can't have that. Now, look, he did walk twice last night. I'll give him that.
They were 4 for 31. 2 of them were infield hits. 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Let's go to the 5th inning. Weston Wilson. All right, it's all 6 pitches before he lined out. Marsh, 1-2 count. You got a battle there. He struck out looking. At that at-bat. All right, Schwarber gets hit by the pitch. Turner, 0-2 count, takes it, winds up striking out on a low curveball. Again, their plate discipline when they got behind in the count was terrible. He had feeble swings last night, Turner. In the 6th inning, we're still 1-0, and this is where it all falls apart. Harper with the double. Castellanos on a 3-2 count gets Cade on a splitter. Bohm with the walk. That's okay. Real Muto. Foul. That's a 2-2 count. K on sweeper. And Stott in a 2-0 count. Grounds out. All right. We can continue it, but it's just they got in advantageous counts. They didn't take advantage. And they put themselves in bad counts by swinging at and feeble swings at stuff in the dirt. And that's just panic as an offense. You're just panicking. You have no plan to get up there.
Now, who do you blame for that? Is that the players? Is it the hitting coach? Is it Rob Thompson? Is it a combination?
I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I always go, well, a hitting coach is giving them feedback. It's up to a player when he's in that box to execute a plan. There's nobody that can help you once you're in there against a pitcher.
Yeah, Trey Turner talked about that post-game, saying, oh, look, from the dugout, it's so easy to be looking up there saying we should do this, and we're really getting ourselves out. Like, almost acknowledging we're not following what we're told.
You're getting yourself out. Why? Because you don't have any discipline. You're not thinking, okay, this is going to be a low and away. I got to either lay off this or I got to expect that that's where that pitch is going. You got to have a game plan. You can't just be flailing up there. And the Phillies flailed. But even when they got him in good counts, they didn't take advantage of it.
So we're focusing on the negative today. Obviously, there's a lot of negative, but I don't want to forget to talk about Ranger Suarez, man. What a performance, though, Mike, by Ranger. I mean, we're talking about the bullpen. We're talking about the bats. I did not expect Ranger to do what he did last night.
He gave up 30 pitches in the first inning.
But he battled.
He battled.
But
Good.
he battled.
This is wonderful. He battled. He gave up 30 pitches in the first inning, which necessitated them to bring in their bullpen in the fifth. Now, I know he battled, and he got through 2 bases-loaded situations. He burned 45 pitches in the first 2 innings.
Knowing that he wasn't 100%. The fact that he came out.
I'm not going to give him any credit.
Oh, come on,
I'm not going to give him any credit. I'm sorry. I get it. Oh, it was wonderful. Yeah, he was gutty. He had 30 pitches in the first inning, dude.
He did enough for them to win that game. If the bats showed up.
He didn't do enough for them.
He did enough.
No, he didn't. Because you had to bring in your high-leverage relievers in the 5th inning. Let's go to Kim and Aston. Kim, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Kim.
Mikey Miss.
Hello, Kim.
How are you?
How are you?
Doing?
Good.
Well, I'm a little sad today.
Why?
But
What's going on?
Listen. Now, just stay with me. Last year, Phillies lost. Eagles lost. Sixers lost. Okay, look, new year, right? Let's go Phillies. They lose. Eagles, we don't know what they're doing. So do we just go Sixers? Like, what do we do with ourselves?
Well, are you bailed out on the Eagles now, Kim?
No, I'm not. I'm going to hang in, but,
Well, isn't this a shame to wait to rely on that team now to pick us up?
Yeah.
We have to rely on the Eagles to pick us up. Yeah. And they will because of this schedule they have coming up. So maybe that happens. And then you got to go right into Sixers mode. They're supposed to save this season.
Right. But now we have Harper, we have Hurts, we have Embiid. We can't win anything. Tell me this. Why can't we win something with these people?
You can. It's possible they could win something.
Okay.
So I'll give you that optimism. Do I think they're as good as the Celtics? No, I don't. Do I think they're as good as the Knicks? I think so. I think they're about even with the Knicks.
Yeah.
So it all depends what happens in the play. What it depends on is if these guys, without load management, can last 70 games apiece. And 70 games apiece will get them into a proper seed for the playoffs.
So if these guys aren't going to do it, do we go to the managers, the coaches? What do we do then?
It's a very interesting call. I don't know what the Phillies can do. Would you change the manager position? I don't think that they will.
No.
You would not?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
No. We've been in the postseason since he's been here.
Yeah, this is like Bill and his Sirianni call. He deserves a chance to come back.
Yeah.
Now, Bill, are you advocating that they make a move? Because you're not high on Rob Thompson.
I have been critical of Rob Thompson. I do think he could have handled this team differently this year, the bullpen differently in the postseason. However, the same argument I've made for Nick Sirianni, I'm making for Rob Thompson. There has been a lot more good during his 3 seasons as manager. I think he deserves one more shot, but this team doesn't deserve one more shot. You can't run it back again like you did this year. The only move Dombrowski made this offseason was Whit Merrifield. How did that work out? And then the only moves he makes at the deadline are Austin Hayes and Estevez and Tanner Banks. How did those 3 guys work out? The team needs to change, not the manager. I'm giving him one more shot with a little bit different of a lineup.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of wiggle room to change this team. We'll talk about that after this. 610-632-0975. It's your day, callers and texters. Give us what you got today, as I got nothing. I have nothing in response. My defense of the Phillies is over, and we're back after this. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. I don't know. I just you almost expected it to have that was going to happen. They had a 1-0 lead. I'm going, can they really hold a 1-0 lead? Because even if he uses his best leverage guys here, you still have to get through 9 with this Mets team. And so I'm going, I could just see that there was no potential for any offensive rally that this team had. You know, you can recognize a team that's dead in the water when you see it. And Philly fans had that feeling all game in Game 3 and Game 4, but especially last night where you just knew it was not going to happen. And they almost subconsciously talked themselves into it not being happened. They didn't have any zeal, any fight in that game last night.
It's just, we've seen it before. You know, you saw it last year in the NLCS. And really, it was every game this series. I know they have the walk-off in Game 2, but outside of a couple innings, it's pretty much every inning this series against the Mets, the bats looked like they had no confidence. They were lost at the plate. I can't believe your best performer was Nick Castellanos. I mean, the guy that I've been saying I can't trust was the only one. I know he had some rough at-bats last night. He's the only one who showed up every game. Hit over 400. 412.
Batted over 400.
Batted over 400.
Batted over 400. So, okay, once they got down 4-1, I'm sorry. I'm going, okay. They lead off the 7th with Weston Wilson. Now, seriously, you tinker with the lineup. We got Weston Wilson out there instead of Hayes. All right, whatever. He didn't play Rojas last night, even though Rojas had decent numbers against the starting pitcher. He was flailing too, Rob Thompson. He was searching for something. The Weston Wilson on a 1-0 count. 1-0 count. 1-0. Grounds out the second pitch.
He hit it hard. You know I like my dub-dubs.
Yeah, I know you do. Marsh, the infield single. Schwarber saw 3 pitches. Grounds out. Double play. 8th inning. Peterson's in. Turner's got a 2-1 count. Takes the 2-1 count for a strike. Then strikes out on a slider down. Out of strikes out. Harper grounds out on the first pitch. A slider right down the middle. Castellanos, all right, single to the left on the first pitch. If it's a cookie, I don't mind you swinging at the first pitch. Single. Boom. Forces out Castellanos. 9th inning. Get 2 runners on. Diaz is ready to blow apart. You could just see it. In fact, I would have yanked him after he got that second. Clemens, a 2-0 count, 2-1 count, swings through 2 fastballs. Here we go. Now you're depending on Cody Clemens in that situation, right? Diaz is ready to blow up. He is trying to throw fastballs over the plate. Gets him in a 2-1 count, swings through 2 fastballs. I don't know what more you want. That's the position where you're in an advantageous count. You're going to get a fastball because he can't command anything. Swings through 2. And then Marsh with the feeble fly out. And then Schwarber, and that's your ball game. Mighty Casey has struck out.
I don't want to keep beating the dead horse of the deadline with Dave Dombrowski, but isn't it telling that the players you just mentioned at the plate, we're talking about Weston Wilson, we're talking about Cody Clemens. I mean, these are the guys in a do-or-die game that are getting big at-bats for you?
It wasn't supposed to be like that. You acquired Hayes to be an everyday left fielder. Either he's hurt and he lost it, and he did have some problems, or guess what? Baltimore peddled him because they saw the same thing.
It's possible. I mean, there's a reason why I guess Austin Hayes wasn't playing. I know he got beat out in Baltimore.
Let's go to Ray. I know Ray's got a heavy heart today.
You should have seen him yesterday, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was anticipating. I'm almost better today because yesterday I was going into that game so down that, like, when it happened, I was like, yeah, I guess this was the way it was always going to happen.
Yeah, it was like euthanasia for Ray.
I was kind of defeated yesterday going into the day.
You look at the emotion of both teams and how one team was hungry and the other was scared. I never seen anything like it. I really haven't. They were scared to death in those last 2 games at Citi Field.
That was the biggest thing. When we were celebrating Monday, the walk-off and what was a great win, the thing that kept sticking out to me was after the game, JT talking about them being tense. Yeah. They had 2 games at home at Citizens Bank Park against the Mets team that, listen, they won the series, so maybe let's not even take a shot at them. But you're the team that won the division. You won 95 games. You had been in this situation before. This core had seen this before, and you went into that series tense. You had Zach Wheeler on the mound Saturday to get the series started at home, and you're talking about how after a walk-off win against that Mets team, you were tense. That's what you guys finally eased up. 15 innings into a series. That was like the blinking red light for me of like, what's this mindset in there?
They just had no chance. Listen, a hungry team, a good team, salivates in that 9th inning. And I know maybe it's too late, but that closer was ready to blow up. In fact, I was shy. He had Ryan Stanek warming up in the bullpen. I'm going to him right now. I've seen this Diaz act before. You get the first 2 guys on. The tying run comes to the plate. And he let him stay out there, and instructed the catcher, all fastballs now. He got him in a count with fastballs.
I know. I started to have some hope there.
I mean, really, Cody Clemens had a bad at-bat. 2 fastballs he got. All right, let's go to Will in Brookhaven. Will, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Will.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Will?
All right, if I can make 2 points, but one about the Phillies, I'm very disappointed in this lineup. This team, this lineup can't come back to produce like this. Like, they didn't do anything, and I was wondering, to ask you, Mike, what happened to, our internet or, our athleticism? There's no athletes on this team. I understand it's baseball, but, I don't know. I need something better than this lineup. This lineup didn't produce anything, and they're supposed to have been good.
Yeah, well, they were good at one point, and then they just kind of lost it. I can't explain that. I really can't. Guys got to come. I don't know what they can do. What could they do? Are they going to pedal Bohm? Are they going to trade him? That kid's not ready to play. That prospect. He's not.
Yeah, Aiden Miller is probably a year and a half away, 2 years.
So, what's that?
He's not ready to play. What about Crawford?
They're not ready. They're not ready for the big.
They're not. Wow.
Yeah, they're not ready yet. They're close, but they're not quite ready. So what do? Do you hand the center field job to Crawford? Do you take that chance just to make changes? I don't know what they do. They got to change their whole outfield configuration from center field to left field, and the only guy that's susceptible to be moved is Bohm. You can't, would you move Real Muto? You can't move Real Muto. He's a catcher. You're not going to do any better at that position. So I don't know. They're going to have to restyle their bullpen. They've got 4 starters under contract, which is the good part of them.
It's just Bohm. I mean, I don't want to put the blame on him, but it just seemed like when he has he doesn't seem like he can get to the base quick enough. He's so tall. He's
his flexibility at third base is fine. I don't question his athleticism. When he got thrown out at second, he lollygagged that. He thought he was going to get a stand-up double.
Yeah, I'm like, why would he do that?
Yeah, and he got thrown out. That can't happen. But he proved to be a good hitter this year. Now, when you lose your confidence, you can't hit. And it's as simple as that. And there's nobody that can inject you with confidence. That's why baseball is the ultimate mano-a-mano game. You're in the batter's box. You got to have a plan. You got to study a pitcher. You got to learn his tendencies. You got to get in counts where you think he's going to throw something, and you got to pounce on it. And they did not the whole game.
Can I ask you something? Do they actually look at film of these pitchers?
Well, they're supposed to. They get scouting reports. They're supposed to look at film. Yes, that's why they have a staff. They have an assistant hitting coach, an assistant to the assistant, the main hitting coach.
They just whiff at everything. I'm screaming at the TV, why are y'all going down? They swinging that ground ball.
I hear you. And these are the supposedly veteran, accomplished players that took no plan to the plate.
None. But this isn't something that should have shocked us. This is the same approach they've had the whole season.
Since the All-Star break.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers, 33 and 34 since the break. If you include the NLDS, 34 and 37. That was the Philadelphia Phillies over the last 71 games. I mean, it's a below-average baseball team. They started out phenomenal. Well, you weren't here yesterday, and one of the questions we had before the lineup got announced, would you have even played Bohm yesterday?
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't I have played Bohm?
Well, first of all, he gets benched in Game 2.
Why wouldn't you have played him?
He gets benched in Game 2 because of his attitude. He comes back in Game 3, has terrible approach at the plate. He saw 5 pitches and 4 at-bats, I believe what it was.
Yeah.
And then he sulks on the bench again, the exact reason why he was benched.
You can't worry about benching guys because they're sulking in the playoffs. You got to put your best lineup out there. Who are you going to put out there? You going to play Sosa again at third base?
There was a lefty on the mound, right? You went with Stott, so Sosa wasn't in the line. I had completely lost faith in Alec Bohm.
Yeah, I would have put him back in.
Well, he was 0 for 3, and he made 2 questionable plays in the field at third base. I
am not going to, in an elimination game, not play my best lineup. I mean, my God. He had Stott Marsh in the game playing his best lineup.
I don't know if Bohm is your best lineup, the current Alec Bohm. And that's why, if I can trade Alec Bohm right now, when his value is probably the highest it's ever going to be, I'm trading Alec Bohm.
You're going to make Sosa your everyday third baseman until Aiden Miller's ready? Is that what you're doing?
You do something to carry you maybe a season, and hopefully Aiden Miller's ready in 2026. I'm done with Bohm. Look, this clubhouse, all those good vibes that we talked about, it didn't work, man. They were way too complacent. They all want to be best friends. I think they need to shake things up. And you're right. You're not moving Turner. You're not moving Harper. You're not moving Stott, most likely. Now, you could.
You're not moving Castellanos.
You could try to trade Castellanos. You could try to trade Castellanos.
You want to trade Castellanos for something? He's got some value.
He's been your best player the last 2 years.
He's got your value.
But JT, I'm okay with JT, but he now is not a top-of-the-lineup hitter. He's going to have to be like your normal catchers are, 8-hole hitter. You can't rely on him at the plate anymore. He's just not the same guy at the plate. So let him just be a good catcher. I'm okay with it. You won a World Series with Carlos Ruiz. You can win one with JT.
Here's the other thing. You now have to rebuild almost your entire bullpen because of the faith that you've lost. So who do you have faith in now? Well, you have faith in Strahm, I guess you bring him back. I guess you give Hoffman another spin.
Well, he's a free agent.
Yeah, but you have to sign him. Estevez you're not going to re-sign. I know it. Strahm and Hoffman. I guess you have to both have them back. Ruiz, he's a piece of crap. Kerkering, you're going to cross your fingers and hope that he continues to develop. But you're going to have to go in now and rebuild a pen that you thought was good.
So you're going to pay Hoffman? I mean, based off of the season, you would pay him.
You'd pay Hoffman. I mean, what's he going to cost you? He's not going to cost you that much.
Unless he goes out there and gets closer money from somebody.
You're not getting closer money. But the way he performed, come on. You're going to get closer money?
So there's the silver lining. Yeah. At least they could afford to bring him back.
All right, let's go to Charlie in South Philly. Charlie, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Charlie. What's up, Charlie?
Yo, Charlie.
Charlie. All right, I'm going to put him on hold. Not paying attention. Tom in Alabama. What's up, Tom?
Yo, Mike.
How are you?
Bill. All right. Hey, Bill, how you doing, man?
What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. You know, as far as accountability, there's none here. I mean, I like the coach and everything, but he did not shake up his lineup either last year, or. And then you got the general manager who didn't do anything in the offseason, let alone at the trade line, and everything he did blew up in our face. And he was supposed to be I was supposed to think he was supposed to be the guy that took us over the hill, you know, that got us over. Hey, I want to see these draft picks. They must be pretty damn good because he held them back. And Turner, I told you, Mike, that's going to turn out to be the worst contract franchise signing as far as a free agent in the Phillies history. That guy is nothing like I thought he would be. And then, really, Bill, I'm glad you feel good about him because I sure as hell don't. I mean, 4 hits in the final game. And the thing about it was the bullpen imploded and the hitting was none, but the Phillies were still in the series. They trot Diaz out there. He walks the first 2 guys, and you're going to give me all my hopes and dreams are going to lie with Cody Clemens. Hey, I like him and on, but not all my hopes and dreams. And the same thing with Hoffman, and said he lets him go back out. Now, the coach needs to be held accountable as well as the GM and the players, everyone.
Well, how do you change it now? Where do they stand, Tom?
Well, I mean, as far as now you have questions about a third baseman who was the starter in the All-Star game, You can't do nothing with Realmuto's contract. You cannot do nothing with Turner's contract. I want to keep Harper, yeah, but you're talking about, like you said, about redoing that whole outfield and then coming back with guys in the bullpen who you've lost faith in. It's just, and I mean, to a Mets team that is good, I'm going to take a shot at them yet. They're not going anywhere because they are just almost as bad as we are.
All right, man. You get it off your chest? Feel good?
Feel better. Thank you.
All right, brother. You got, like I say, I got no retort. I don't have anything. I have nothing positive to offer today about what we witnessed. In a million years, I did not think they would lose this series to the Mets. I did not.
It's what surprises me, though, with as good as this team was, and I said this yesterday, that we went into a do-or-die game, and you could debate who was going to start at 4 of the 8 positions outside of pitcher. I mean, you could debate, oh, well, who should be your second baseman? Who should be your third baseman tonight? Who should be your center fielder? Who should be your left fielder? Like, how did this team go from being one of the greatest teams we've ever seen to start the year to now we don't even know who's playing for the positions? What happened to this team?
Dude, their approach was so fouled up. It was fouled up as simple as this. Estevez threw 4 straight fastballs to Lindor. Now, I'm going, well, how is that even possible that you would throw him 4 straight fastballs? Where was JT? JT, did you push the wrong button? How are you throwing 4 straight fastballs to him thinking he's not going to time one up? You don't twist something in there at that point? You don't mix in a slider? Who's calling those pitches? Was it JT or is it the pitching coach, Caleb Cottom? Like, I don't understand that 4 straight fastballs he threw to him. In a 1-0 game with the bases loaded.
The day before with Nola, too, I questioned some of the pitch selections. So I don't know who's calling those. Is that JT?
He's pressing the button. JT's pressing the button.
It's frustrating, man. It is frustrating. But I'm trading Bohm if I can. If I can get rid of Bohm, I'm doing it. I don't need Marsh here either. I don't need those strikeouts in the lineup. Guy gave you nothing. You know you're stuck with Turner. And JT, Tom said Bill's okay with JT. I'm okay with him behind the plate. I know we're questioning some of the pitch selections last night. But I'm okay with him behind the plate. You just can't rely on him as being your 5-hole or 6-hole anymore. He's got to be down in the lineup. You got to get more production from your outfield. You have to.
I hear you. I can't say that I disagree with you. But I just don't have a solution at third base. I could probably restyle my outfield. So you're going to trade Marsh. You're not going to get much for Marsh.
But, I mean, how long do we have to live with this Alec Bohm attitude, man? I mean, no, you said it's not that big of a deal.
It is a big deal now. He's not a mature player. And when you're an immature player, then you're not professional. You're not and therefore you don't get professional at-bats. You're always in your head. You know, it is. It's like I didn't see that tantrum part of him when he first came up. Like as a minor leaguer, we didn't hear any reports of that. But he gets way down on himself. He's like a golfer that lets a missed putt mess up his tee shot.
Yeah, or
he's like golfing with me.
Yeah,
I mean that's what it is. I watch him play baseball, and I'm like, wow, that's why I'm horrible at golf. But you expect that out of me because. You know.
The saying with golf is it's not the triple bogey that ruins the round. It's your reaction to the triple bogey that ruins your round. That's Alec Bohm.
Yeah, you can't hit at a major league level and react the way I react to putting in the bunker.
And he's not a kid anymore. He's 28 years old. I think there's people who still think Alec Bohm, well, he's a young guy. He's 28. He should be a damn leader on this team.
Everybody graduated daycare. We could take the kids' gloves off with everything at this point. Like, they're all in their mid to late 20s at this point. It's not like they're a bunch of 23-year-olds just showed up on the scene.
Yeah, daycare's done.
All right, 610-632-0975. It's the Mike Missanelli Show, but it's your show. Lament. Tell me where we're going with this team. Back after this. Need it. Let's soothe out. The Mike Missanelli Show, 11 o'clock hour, brought to you by Grungo Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace. Prepare for trial, grungolaw.com. And that rather demonstrative first hour was brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows, plus make no down payment with no payments, no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. I'm playing a little under the influence today, I think. So be patient with me. You never know what's going to come out of this mouth. With anesthesia and some pain meds for last night. I didn't take any pain meds today, though.
Yeah,
just to be lucid for the show.
And then you throw that Phillies game on top of it. Mike's not in a great mood today.
Not
but
in a great mood.
We appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you. I know you want to. I was listening to the post-game show last night, and all the lauding of Ranger Suarez, and you lauded him as well. What a gutty effort by a Ranger, and I guess to a point it was. But when you're backed up and you throw almost 50 pitches in the first 2 innings, that's going to mean that you're going to have bullpen troubles.
It is, and under normal circumstances, I would agree with you. But this is a guy in Ranger Suarez who hasn't been a good pitcher over the last couple of months. So you knew he wasn't going to give you a stellar outing.
Listen, I'm beyond rewarding efforts 4 1/3 with 97 pitches. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. 4 1/3, 97 pitches, and all I hear is how gutty. Well, okay, well,
Zero earned runs.
What does that mean? He was gutty. He loaded the bases twice in the first inning, and the second.
And how many runs did he give up?
All right, he wormed out of it. Does that mean that we laud him?
I'm lauding Ranger.
I don't get it. I don't understand where you're lauding. Right? You laud him too?
Yeah, I mean, he cleared the lower bar I had for him. I didn't think he was getting 4 1/3. So,
all right.
It's not that I watched, Cy Young out there.
I reward when it's really necessary to reward. I don't reward like consolation prizes.
I think he did enough. And when Rob Thompson says everyone's available out of the pen, if Suarez gives you 4 1/3, you still had Sanchez available.
Suarez gives you 5. You don't have to use Hoffman in the 4th and then bring him back out for the 5th. That's the way I look at it. Let's go to Rick in Easton. Rick, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rick.
Mikey.
Hello, Rick.
Now our catcher's pushing the wrong buttons. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know what he's pushing. You explained to me 4 straight fastballs to Francisco
Mikey,
Lindor.
We've been through this before. You know, when you're 66, the only thing you have going for you is you saw all 7 rings. My grandparents didn't see it. My kids didn't see it. And, I go right to the acceptance stage. You guys are in the bargaining stage with all these trade possibilities now. We already went through the denial and the anger. It's amazing. But you know what, Mike? It's incredible if you think about it. The Phillies had 2 starters. One went 7 innings, one went 5 innings, and they lost both those games. I wonder how often that's happened. And then the only game they won, the opposing team hit more home runs than they did. And it's 3 home runs the game they win. It's amazing. But you know what's amazing to me, Mike? The parallel that the Eagles and the Phillies are on the same career path. Look how the Eagles started. Look how the Phillies started. Look how the Eagles ended last year. Look how the Phillies ended this year. They can't hit. We can't tackle. It's unbelievable.
And we don't know what we're getting from the Eagles. This is why, it's funny because when they talked to me about coming back here, management was talking, it's a really good time for you to come back with Philly sports because Phillies are probably going to go to the World Series. The Eagles may make a run to Super Bowl. Now it's just evaporated all of a sudden.
I know this is not going to be popular. I know it's going to be off the wall, but you know me as an off the wall guy. I get it with the future. I get it. But this was the time because the windows don't stay open long.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. And I said this earlier in the year. Make a play for Rooker. It would have changed the whole complexion of that lineup. And I know, we gave Michael Vick a chance, but it's been so terrible to try to give Trevor Bauer a shot. And it just doesn't make sense.
But Rick, the problem with Rooker is that he can't play outfield. And the guy you're talking about, the guy from Oakland who smoked a couple long home runs there. He's at DH. So what were you going to do? How was that going to help?
Well, they went into this game with Weston Wilson playing left.
Well, they did, but Weston Wilson at least has some experience playing different positions. That guy is a pure DH.
Yeah, and you're not going to move Schwarber back to left.
No. So you would have had to play every day. You would have had to play Rojas and Marsh, pretty much, in that situation. But then but you could have used Rooker. Where would you had a DH? You can't play Schwarber. You would take a chance with Schwarber playing left. I guess you could have done that.
Maybe Luis Robert Jr. would have been all right.
Luis Robert Jr. Here we go.
Maybe that would have been all right, Ray.
I'm not.
Put him in center.
Let's go to the text board. What do we got in the text board? I'm sure the text board is lit.
Yeah, we got a lot of people checking in here. Unnamed texter from Jersey. Thompson may have the best winning percentage of any manager in Philadelphia's history, but with the roster that team has had in that time, it should be much better than it is. It has been a consistent pattern of managerial misguidance that has led this team to where it currently stands. And Rob Thompson has been a key issue for this team for quite some time now. It has proven time and time again throughout this season.
I don't understand that text. I don't understand how Rob Thompson is responsible for this thing. I really don't. Please tell me. Take that text. Let's take it apart. Ray, how is he responsible?
Oh, you think I think he's responsible?
No, I'm just saying, what would the theory be with this guy right now?
The theory is these are good players. The good players aren't playing good. They don't seem like they got the motivation. It's probably one of those intangible type things.
All right, so the manager has to motivate Major League Baseball players, like a football coach would do. Right? Is that what we're talking about here?
So I'm on record as saying I think Rob Thompson should come back. Mm-hmm. But I certainly think that he does share in the responsibility here.
Okay. Tell me how.
One, we could talk about some of the decisions with regard to the bullpen. You can go back to last year, taking Wheeler out of the game. You can talk about not pinch hitting for Rojas and all those things.
We're talking about this year.
But this season.
This year, what did he do to cause this kind of a meltdown?
I firmly believe that Rob Thompson allowed complacency to settle in with this baseball team. Because since the All-Star break, when you're a 33-34 team and you prioritize resting guys, not really holding anybody accountable, and allowing that losing, complacent culture to settle in, you weren't going to be able to just flip the switch come October.
Okay.
And we've talked about this on this show.
Where is his frame of reference as a manager? Who did he study under?
Joe Torre.
Okay. Was Joe Torre a demonstrative manager?
Every team needs something different.
I'm asking you a question.
But you're talking about different guys. These guys didn't need that this year.
The way he learned how to manage. That veteran players that are signed to big, high contracts are better suited just letting them control their own narrative rather than some false tough guy voice coming out.
And how did that work?
Well, but you can't.
2 years in a row now it didn't work.
If you are a certain guy, you can't turn into a tiger. It's phony to players, Bill.
If you're a manager of a professional sports team, it's up to you to know the room, to know your team, and you press the necessary buttons.
He tried to do it by benching guys every now and then. He benched Bohm in a playoff game.
Too little too late. Too little too late.
Okay.
I think he should have held people accountable a lot earlier.
I don't know what that means. I hold people accountable. Tell me what that means exactly.
You and I talked about this probably going back into August, that I wanted to see Rob Thompson do some things when they were struggling. And he didn't do anything.
Tell me this is what I'm asking you. What would he have done?
I think he eventually
what
did
is your idea on what he should have done? Kick over a table? Have more team meetings? Tell these guys, you got to play better. What would you... What? Bench guys? Tell me what you would have done.
Yes, I would have benched guys. And we talked about this a couple months ago.
Let's continue with this. You would have benched guys. Who?
I would have benched players who were not. We had this conversation.
Who are you benching?
Alec Bohm would have been one of them.
Okay, and you're playing Sosa every day at third base.
For as long as it took. It's up to Rob Thompson to know the room, to know, hey, when do I press this button? When do I put Alec Bohm in? When do I say, hey, Brandon Marsh, you got to stop striking out. You're sitting today. And I know he did it against lefties, but I just think you're acting as if, well, he's a baseball guy. He's going to be even keel. He's going to be calm the whole season. How about not pinch hitting Bryce Harper in a game where you could win and saying, you know what, I told him it's a rest day. He's going to take a rest day. You're allowing complacency and a loser mentality to fester in a clubhouse of a team that had World Series aspirations. And you can't expect a manager who's going to manage that way to then all of a sudden, come October, say, all right, boys, now it's time.
Okay. I asked for an answer. That was your answer. I got nothing. Really, I can't. I have no defense to anything anybody would say. I don't think a manager has to motivate veteran, high-priced players. I just don't. And I think baseball managers in general are best served by not being that kind of manager. But it is what it is. So I got nothing.
But what'd you think? Let's just look at this playoff series. Did you agree with a lot of his decisions?
I would have done. I told you from the jump that I would have not benched Stott and probably not Marsh. I would have had a little more confidence in them because you're not replacing them with better. And I wouldn't have benched Bohm either. 610. I'm playing my best. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. Listen, I really don't know what to say about what I saw last night. I really don't. There was such hope for them to steal that Game 4 and have Wheeler win the series for the Phillies. I think people actually thought that could happen. And as the game moved on, I'm going, this team has no chance to hit their way to a win. They have none. And that's a feeling that when you think about what you were thinking of this Phillies team at the beginning of this season and where they were at that moment of the game where you said they can't overcome a 4-1 lead. They just can't. The grand slam stepped on them like a cigarette butt. It was just
That's a good analogy.
Really, it just stamped them out. That was it.
That's why it frustrated me so much, and I know Rob Thompson, what else is he going to say? But after they lose Game 3, he talks about how resilient of a group this is. Really? Where have they been resilient?
They weren't resilient. I'm sorry. They were not resilient. And so, that's coach speak because he doesn't know what's going to happen next year. But Dave Dombrowski's now he built a team that was a certain way, and he thought that was going to be good enough. And I bet you he second-guesses himself now that maybe he didn't give up a prospect to get a better situation in left field or maybe add another bullpen piece. Because he traded away 2 guys. He traded away guys that, were effective at one point, then lost it to get that left fielder. I don't know. Dominguez may have helped.
It couldn't have been worse. It could have been worse, but you don't expect that.
All right, back to the text board before we get back to the calls. Ray, hit me.
All right, Zach from Florida, out on Bohm. I think he played above his head offensively, and you need new energy. All in on Soto. They have a good opportunity with guys under contract and 2 young guys coming up in a year. Move JT down, add Soto. I'd like to see Turner and Stott switch.
No. You see, Soto is not an everyday player.
No, Soto is in
not
B1.
Edmundo Sosa.
He's going after Juan Soto.
He's talking about Juan Soto.
Juan Soto.
In free agency.
Okay, my bad. Well, yeah, you want to go after him? That's fine. Add another big payroll piece.
Well, you'd have to get rid of Castellanos probably to make the money work, I would think.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Don't get rid of Castellanos.
But Stott is not a major league shortstop. So that's foolish that you're going to switch those positions.
No, Stott's a second baseman.
Yeah.
The question is, Aiden Miller, is he your future third baseman or your future shortstop?
I don't know. I got to think he's a future third baseman. Yeah, but you're tied into Turner for how many years?
Well, can you move Turner to third?
Turner's problem is, I hear people, he's a butcher. He's not a butcher. He just most of his errors are throwing errors and lack of concentration. But he throws from the side. He slings it. So at third base, he's not an over-the-top thrower. He kind of had to be an over-the-top thrower at third base. I don't know. I have no idea. Let's go to Brett in Nazareth. Brett, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Brett.
Mike, how are you, buddy?
What's going on,
glad
Brett?
You're back, brother.
Thank you, buddy.
Your murder mystery series is fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me just say a note on that. The little girl that was murdered.
Yeah.
She had a younger sister.
Yeah.
I finally touched base with the younger sister. She finally got in touch with me. So that her younger sister, who's now obviously in her 60s, will be coming on the podcast as well. I hope.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great to hear. I would love to hear what she has to say and everything. But real quick, I want to give your co-host some facts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, Baum has the tools to be a great player, and his sitting around, pussy and acting like this and sulking on the bench. You know what? That comes back to the leaders of the team. That comes back to Harper.
No, you're
that
right.
Comes back
you're,
to Schwarber.
You're right. I'm surprised that wasn't. I mean? Yeah. I'm surprised that one was not shut down by Harper.
They need to sit down with him and say, dude, you got the tools to be a great ball player, and if you don't stop the stuff you're doing and, the poor body language and all that and get your head in it, you ain't going to make it. Number two.
You're absolutely right.
Wait, so Bohm doesn't have to – you're not holding Bohm accountable at all on that? It's all on Harper?
No.
So a 28-year-old – wait, hold on. Mike said earlier that professional baseball players should not need motivation from a manager. But now we're going to take a 28-year-old all-star and he needs to be told by a 31-year-old Bryce
Yeah,
Harper?
he does. He
Come
does.
on.
He does, because that's what a baseball clubhouse is all about.
How many years we got to live with this? I hate this place.
This is what leaders do in a clubhouse. They go,
He's
cut
28,
that
and
crap
you know
out,
what?
is what they say.
He's 28, and the kid probably hit a slump. It has nothing to do in Philly. You're playing in Philly. Like, look at Castellanos the other night. F these people. Whatever. This kid's 28. He's done it his whole career. Kevin Long stinks. He needs to go. That guy needs to go, if you ask me. All right, so let's get off Baum. I think you keep Baum. Number 2, Brandon Marsh
is a bum.
fake. Brandon Marsh is a fake Jason Worth. That's number 2. Okay, he's a fake Jason Worth.
You know, if I was him, I would change the whole shtick.
You'd shave the beard?
I had to cut the hair.
Cut the hair.
Enough now. All right. Listen, if you're a player, fine. If you produce, you can do anything you want. But now it's old. I'm tired of it.
But hold on, I just want to go back to Bohm
the
for a
wet
second.
hair and come on.
Yeah, the wet hair.
Cut your hair. Be a ball player.
But back to Bohm real quick.
Yeah.
So the caller, you're agreeing, oh, well, Harper should sit him down.
Yes.
Well,
because
the guy got benched, and he did it anyway. He got benched in game 2 and did it again.
And that's why the manager doing it is ineffective. When your peers do it, it's different. And that was what the good Philly teams in the past had, those kind of players that would take care of stuff like that.
Well, we don't know if they spoke to him. We have no idea if they spoke to him or not in the clubhouse. I'm sure they did. If you're getting benched, I'm sure someone talked to Alec Bohm. I'm sure he wasn't ignored for the last 3 days, and he did it again anyway.
I don't think anybody talked to him. I think they let him sulk.
Well, that's a bigger
because
problem.
he was out in the outfield sulking. Yeah, there was no player that said, "Dude, get up. Don't sit down on the grass. Get up. Go." You know?
Yeah, and people are saying what someone on YouTube is asking what he did. It was a bad call by the umpire. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about when he goes from first to second, gets thrown out at second because he's got a piano on his back. He then gets in the dugout and the camera shows him and he's yelling and complaining at somebody else for I don't even know what he was yelling and complaining about. It's just too much, Mike. It's too much. If we want to change the vibes and the culture of this team, I think you start with him.
Okay, my thing is that, okay, we're going to make Sosa the everyday third baseman, and he's not an everyday player. So you're going to have to acquire somebody anyway. Let's go to Greg in Bethlehem. Now, Greg, hang in there. We got a break coming up. Boy, this is really let's get a little text here before we go into the break. I want to get everybody on board today.
All right, we got an unnamed texter. This is the second time they've ever checked in, and all they want to let you know: Topper got to go, Realmuto, Stott, Bohm, Marsh, Turner, all have to go.
Everybody has to go.
Yeah, maybe too much.
Unfortunately, contracts prevent that. So we'll talk about now. You can make a deal for Bohm. He's got arbitration coming up, I think.
Yeah, he does.
So you can make a deal for him, and you can probably trade Marsh, but you're not. Maybe you can get a relief pitcher for Marsh, and then your love affair with Johan Rojas can continue in center field.
One more before we hit the break here. From Mark in Philly, Rob Thompson is too nice for Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's foolish. 610-632-0975. We're back after this. Kelly Green cash giveaway. I don't know. Maybe we can make you happier with $1,000 in your pocket. That's coming up. Don't miss it. Also, the news at noon. We'll take a little respite from the angst of speaking about the Phillies losing in their first round of the playoffs. I still can't process that. I really can't. I'm thinking, all right, if they lose to the Dodgers, or maybe the Padres, that hot team in the NLCS, I can live with it. I can't live with this. And not just because it's the Mets. I just can't live with this team losing in the first round that they're playing after getting a necessary bye, which everybody lauded that they were good enough to get. And it ends this way. I can't process it, Bill.
It's the way they lost, too. I mean, we don't have to even look at the bullpen or the starting pitching, whatever. Let's just look at the bats. 12 runs in 4 games, a 186 batting average. They struck out 38 times. I mean, it's exactly what we feared. Well, some of us.
Yeah, you feared it.
Some of us.
I give you credit. You feared it.
Well, but like you said,
last year, the layoff, the trade, back to the trade deadline. Ray was betting me that you would go back to the trade deadline. He was right.
Yeah.
You did. You went back to it.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Well, because it became clear when this team was struggling. I even said this before the All-Star break before the trade deadline when they were struggling. I said the one positive is Dombrowski will realize I have to upgrade this team as opposed to just saying, look how good we are. We don't have to do anything. And he did acknowledge they have to upgrade, but they didn't do anything that worked.
He missed on Hayes.
And Estevez, I guess.
On him. And Estevez wasn't lights out. Okay. Greg in Bethlehem joins us. What's up, Greg?
Morning, guys. Rough
Morning,
night
Greg.
last night. I mean, the Phillies ran into a buzzsaw. I think what we saw is a Mets team, at least what I saw, was a Mets team that was playing loose and confident that they were going to win somehow, and the Phillies team that had, to use one of your old descriptions, had lemon butts that were tight and not confident. And I think that particularly showed up with the bullpen, throwing those sliders that were, 20 feet outside. I just think it was a matter. You can't play baseball if you're not loose and confident.
No, you're right. And the Mets had that track record coming in of success. They had character. They had the energy they gained from winning that series against Milwaukee and then moving on from there. They played with hunger, but they also have a better balanced lineup is what they showed. And like a better balanced lineup, the bottom of the order can give you stuff. With the Phillies, it was so top-heavy, it was ridiculous, and then the top didn't even produce most of the time.
No, you can't live by the big innings, like Schwarber said. You got to be able to manufacture runs.
At times you do. When I look at their, they had guys that were gutty enough to contribute. The Mets did after they got to their fourth hitter. They've got the Iglesiases and the J.D. Martinez. They had the Winker with the big home run as a DH. Marte in the 7-hole, giving him stuff. Tyrone Taylor, who battles. Alvarez, who can't hit a lick, did get a couple of hits.
No, they definitely hit better than the Phillies did across the board.
Jack in Lansdale, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Jack.
Hey, Mike. Speedy recovery.
Thank you, buddy.
This becomes somewhat of a moot point because, bottom line, they scored 1 run. But you're going into an elimination game. Fine, you're going to start Ranger on a short leash. By some miracle, he actually got through 4 innings. And he was obviously spent. He sends him back out there for the 5th. Of course, he gets in trouble. Now you got to use one of your main guys to get out of the... But they get through it. Now, you need 4 innings out of your bullpen that you don't trust any of them.
No, at that point you're throwing darts, and you're trying to bring your best guys in to get through those middle innings, and then worrying about the end of the game later, which is probably what you have to do as a manager.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's by far the best pitcher on your staff?
You would have played, so you would have warmed Wheeler up.
He's pitched 7 innings in 2 weeks, Mike. He's your best pitcher.
I agree with you almost. You're in a desperate situation, but he's thinking it's still a 1-0 game. They don't have to use Wheeler. I don't know. In retrospect, you probably should have emptied him.
Well, it goes to the mindset, to me, of either the manager, the organization, or maybe even the player. Like, where is Wheeler?
Yeah, Wheeler probably should have said, "I'm ready, Skip."
Yeah. Put me in this game.
Yeah. Now we don't know if he did that or not. Maybe Thompson said, "Absolutely not. It's not going to happen because I got to think of your career." Maybe he did that to him. I don't know.
Well, again, if he's a younger guy, this guy's got a long-term contract. I mean, he's paid. If you got a younger guy that's worried about his future, and I get it.
So you're saying, here's what you're saying. This is Lindor doubles. Lindor doubles off Suarez in the 5th. That's when Wheeler comes into the game.
Yes.
Okay. I can't argue with it. I can't argue with it.
I just don't understand how you went through that series and your 2 best pitchers, Wheeler and Sanchez, are sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
In an elimination game.
I got it. I hear you. So in that situation, then, you would have had to have a bullpen game or come back with Nola on short rest for a game 5, but you were at home.
You could have had Nola short rest on Friday. That would have been the play.
And you were at home. You would have got maybe that lift. So as soon as Lindor doubles to left, Wheeler should have been up and ready to come in. That's what he's saying. And I can't argue with that. You got to say, listen, we may need you today. Are you all right? And then maybe he said no. And maybe that's why Rob Thompson said definitely it's not going to happen. I don't know. I mean, that's what reporters should be ferreting out today, whether that was a possibility.
Yeah, was Wheeler available? I mean, he said it the day before, everybody will be available.
He did.
But look, he's talking about in the 5th. He goes to Hoffman in the 5th. Hoffman does get out of it.
Yeah, he got out of it.
It was just bringing him back in the 6th and then just watching it and watching it.
But what I'm saying is Hoffman didn't need to go out for the 6th after he got out of the 5th. If you have Wheeler in there, Wheeler's giving you 3 innings. If you take Suarez out for Wheeler after Lindor's double, Wheeler's got the next 3 innings.
Yeah,
and you don't have to worry about whether you're going to bring in Hoffman for another outing or Estevez in the next inning.
Who would have closed it out?
Well, you get to that, maybe Estevez closes it out. You still had him down there, but you burned he and Hoffman.
It is hard, though. I mean, I've been critical of Thompson. It is hard when your bullpen is this bad.
Well, if you know it, though, by any measure, I got to save this game or the season's over.
Yeah, because where does that get you now?
I got to use Wheeler. I can't worry about Game 5 now. They backed me into a corner here.
Yeah, Wheeler's nice and rested today.
Yeah, he is.
Doesn't mean anything.
All right, let's go to Alex in Bethlehem. Alex, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yeah, guys, this whole season felt very eerily similar to 2011 with the great pitching, the wire-to-wire act, and now, of course, the early NLDS loss due to minimal offense. Mike, back then, you were basically saying to trade Utley, trade different guys. So do you think it's a similar situation now where
those guys
start unloading?
Those guys were piped. That's why the sentimentality was over their abilities at that point. That's why I said that back then. Bohm is still a player. He's 28. I get it. I don't have a replacement for him. Marsh, I could peddle. But what am I going to get from Marsh? I'm going to get a relief pitcher at best. Do I need another left fielder who's got some pop? Yep, I need that. So he may have to trade some prospects for that. I don't know. The prospects aren't quite ready to come up here yet. But he's got to make some change. You can't come back with the same team and run it back. You've got to now make it uncomfortable.
I think Bohm making just $4 million a year, driving in 97 runs, I think he has a lot of value. I think
he's also under arbitration where he's going to get like $15 million.
Right, exactly. But Castellanos, we talk about his contract a lot, but he's making $20 million. I mean, I could see maybe a team like Seattle picking that up, but yeah, we got to be aggressive. We have to make moves, guys. I have to have a completely different look going into 25.
I agree. I would not be afraid to move Castellanos, Marsh. I mean, that's really the only guys you can move, right?
Would you move Bohm?
I don't have a replacement. No, I wouldn't move Bohm. I would not. I don't have it. You gotta. You're gonna have to acquire outfielders, and you would in trades. What third baseman are you gonna acquire?
I already saw the people calling for Bregman. Everybody's opening up the checkbooks
Bregman,
again.
now it's an older player.
But could you get by? I know you don't like Sosa, but could you get by?
No.
If you got
no.
I'm going to
No.
I don't want you to finish this.
He's a utility player, okay? He's not an everyday player. You can't go into a season with him as your regular third baseman.
But what if it meant trading Bohm and being able to upgrade the outfield?
I can't do it, Bill. I can't.
But we can't.
I can't make a utility player an everyday player. He's going to break your heart.
But out of all of the players that are currently under contract on this team, the player that's going to bring back the most value has to be Bohm. He was an all-star. He's 28. He's arbitration eligible. He's the guy you could trade to get the biggest return.
What are you going to get? You're going to get prospects for Bohm. What do you think you're getting for Bohm?
I don't know.
Are you getting a starting player? It's going to play where? You're not going to get a starting third baseman for him.
No, you're not going to get a starting third baseman. But can you get prospects that now you can turn and trade for potential outfield?
I don't know. How many prospects are you going to get for Alec Bohm? Is he a primo prospect guy that you're going to get primo prospects for? He's 28 now.
What do you have, 94 RBIs?
Yeah. He's also 28.
I just hate his attitude, man. I do.
That's also the problem here. Because if I'm someone else picking up the phone on the other end, wait a second. You're trading a 28-year-old that's in arbitration right now that drove in 90 runs, that went to his first All-Star game. Why you traded him? Like, on the other end, I think that probably hampers what you're going to get in return because it seems like you were trying to get rid of him instead of trying to, get value back for him.
Your thing is to get rid of him. You're fixated that you hate him. Instead of saying, well, yeah, I hate him, but can I rationalize in my head that Sosa could be my starting third baseman? You're already rationalizing that. And then now you're rationalizing that you're going to get primo enough prospects to trade for a premier outfielder.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Because you hate him. You got to get rid of the hate. You got to get rid of the football mentality of a lollygagger who sulks. That doesn't fit in your world, Bill.
Well, it doesn't fit when you just saw your team show zero life in a series against the Mets. So
I'm not disagreeing with you.
You got to
I
change
just look
something.
at the other side of it. The other side of it, I don't know if it's too palatable. Let's go to text board. What we got?
Still a lot of people upset, if you could imagine that. A lot of people. Thompson's job has been called into question a million times. We got a lot of people firing him, but we did have one person here, James in Doylestown, that wants to make it clear it's not Topper's fault we're pitching. If we would be able to hit and score runs like we're supposed to with this lineup, none of that would matter because every game would have been totally different. If we just scored more runs, this lineup is at fault now 2 years in a row.
Let me tweak Bill here. Let's play a cut from his favorite player, Alec Bohm, who reporters were very ginger in questioning. And one reporter asked him about whether his hand injury, changed his season. Here's what he had to say.
I'm not going to make excuses. I don't feel like it did, but obviously I wasn't the same guy when I came back. But it's just, is it the hand? I don't know. I don't feel like it is, but I definitely didn't get back to where I was before that, swinging the bat. But, there's no excuse.
Okay, so he's kind of hinting that it did. But then he was asked.
I hate that, by the way. I'm not going to make any excuses, but yes, I wasn't feeling great.
Favorite kind of answer. I'm not making excuses,
but I'm going to make one.
Excuse.
Yeah. So then he was asked if he would going to change his hitting approach, and here's what he had to say.
I'm up there. I'm an aggressive hitter. I'm not going to change who I am. That's how I've been my whole career. That's what's got me here. And if they throw the ball over the plate, I'm ready to hit it. And I'm not going to think too much about all that other stuff and just go up there. And every time I stand there with the bat on my shoulder and see a pitch, it's right down the middle. So, it's a double-edged sword.
Okay. What do you think about that one?
I dislike him even more. Maybe it's not his fault. Maybe it's Aaron Dolan's fault.
He's not going to change. He's not going to change it.
Is he dating Aaron Dolan? Has that been confirmed?
No,
we don't know about that. But he's saying that. Listen, I became an all-star player, doing it my way. Now what are you going to tell me? That's what he's saying to you. What are you going to tell him, Bill?
I don't know.
I'll take this one for you, Bill.
What do you got, Ray?
The league adjusted, man. You need to adjust back.
Yeah, it's true.
You're stuck in the second half. So glad your first half was good.
Yeah.
Figure it out, man.
Again, I think what he's trying to say is they're accusing him of swinging the first pitches. So
we're not accusing him. That's exactly what he did.
I don't have a problem if you're a hitter and you see a first pitch that you think's a cookie. Sometimes they'll get you out because it'll have a tail on it. Sometimes it'll have it'll run in on you, and that's where you get messed up. But if you see a pitch that you think is going to be a strike, you have that little time to adjust to it, and you can't go up with the mindset, I'm going to take this first pitch. Because if it's cookie, you've missed an opportunity to maybe get the best pitch you're ever going to get in that at-bat.
I understand that, and I'm okay with guys being aggressive early in counts, but you also got to understand the circumstances. Your lineup has been struggling. We know the Mets bullpen is not as strong as they looked. Don't you have to work some counts early? Don't you have to try to get into that bullpen? So when you're swinging at the first pitch every time like Bohm is doing, you're letting them off the hook. You're allowing them.
Unless it's a pitch that you want to hit for a single, and then you got a guy on base, just like you walked.
Yeah, but what was Bohm doing?
Or you can hit a double with that pitch. This is the thing. You can't go up there with a mindset that you're going to walk.
He was 1 for 13.
I know.
And the one hit he
was.
had, he got thrown out at second.
I got it. Yeah, didn't he have a chopper hit last night?
No, I don't think he got on base last night, Bohm. Did he?
That was a chopper.
It was an error.
They called it an error on
Yeah, they
Vientos?
called it an error.
Okay.
He got it was an RBI. Well, no, he doesn't get the RBI because it's an error, but that's what drove in the only run.
If I'm a Met fielder, I see Vientos try to make those quick throws to the plate. I got, dude, come on, you're killing me. You're not that good. You're not that good at third base to make that play. You got to get an out.
He may be better than Bohm, though.
Great at the plate.
He's a good hitter. They didn't have a position for him. They found him at third. Joe in Springfield, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
What's up,
Good
Joe?
to hear you back.
Thank you, buddy.
I hope you feel better with your back. I know what you're going through.
Yeah, it's fresh. It's a fresh wound.
We're killing this third base talk with Bohm. We don't have a replacement. Sosa can't be there all year. What are we going to do?
That's Dave Dombrowski's department. Bill wants to trade Bohm right away. I'm thinking, no, you don't trade him. You can move Castellanos. You can move Marsh if you want to make some changes.
Yeah, Marsh has got to go.
Yeah, but Castellanos got a high price tag, man. I don't know how many teams that want to pay $20 million for him.
Casty's going to stay.
So basically, they'll maybe change one position.
That's the thing. That's why you got to get creative.
They got to settle this center field, left field situation. That's where they need to really pursue it. And now they need bullpen pieces because you can't rely on these guys now. They showed what they were.
The bullpen wasn't good this time.
They were scared to death to use their power lefty the whole series. They didn't have any faith in him either. I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, Joe.
What are we going to do? That's all I'm thinking of. Today's a bad day.
Let me ask you this. Would you trust Sosa playing third base if they traded Bohm?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, we got to do something at third. Miller's not there for another year, right? Crawford, another year.
Yeah. They moved both of those guys. Well, they moved Crawford to AAA? He may be close if they move him to AAA. Miller's at Reading, isn't he? Yeah. Or did they move him to AAA? They didn't move him to AAA.
AA.
Yeah. They're both 20, right? Crawford, too?
It might be a little older. I don't know.
A little around that.
Miller's 20. I know that.
Yeah, he's not ready.
He's got the same birthday as me.
Not ready.
The big question for you, though, in terms of window of contention. Do you really have time to wait on? You tried to wait on developing guys in Bohm, in Marsh, in Rojas. Part of the problems that we're talking about with this lineup in this series was guys you thought were going to take a step forward. Didn't take a step forward.
Yeah, and they're both 20, but
they're both 20. Okay.
Both are 20.
So can you tell me the level Crawford is at? Can you find that out? Who's he playing for? Is he playing for the Iron Pigs? I don't know. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got the noontime situation coming up with our Fanatic Kelly Green Cash giveaway and also news at noon.
He's with the Blue Claws.
Crawford, no. He
was at least at Reading. I don't know if they
That's old news.
It says in mid-August he was promoted to the Jersey Shore Blue Claws.
Crawford?
That's what it says.
No, he's definitely at Reading.
He played 40 games at Reading this year.
Yeah.
All right, this is old.
Yeah, it's old.
Wikipedia's wrong.
Yep. 610-632-0975. Back after this. We're trying to calm people down today. Some easy vibes. The 12 o'clock hour of the Mike Missanelli Show. It's brought to you by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months, $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. All right, I'm in a new position. I don't know if people can see this, but I'm standing now.
And it's a new
Actually,
mic.
the microphone sounds clear.
It sounds phenomenal.
It makes me sound like a radio broadcaster.
You have a great voice right now.
How about that? All right, so obviously we're lamenting the Phillies, but to take a little respite from lamenting, it is time for a little thing we call the News at Noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the News at Noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ray done with the News at Noon. Ray, Bob, what do you got?
All right, I got 2 Shaq clips for you to start today. The first clip does not actually have Shaq in it. It is a topic of conversation on Club Shay Shay. He had Dion Cole, the comedian, actor, on the show. And
the Old Spice deodorant pitcher, Dion Cole.
And he told a story on why one should not follow Shaq.
I heard you dated one of Shaq's exes, and you couldn't feel the shoes, literally or figuratively.
Nah, yeah, man.
Why would you do that?
Don't ever at the Shaq. That's the point. Like, don't do it.
Why? Why would you do that?
I didn't know at the time. She told me later. After I got up, I was like, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know if he's saying that he doesn't want to be there after Shaq or doesn't want to feel inadequate. What is he trying to say there?
I think the inadequate part.
Because he mentioned the shoes? Must be the shoes?
More than just the shoes.
It seemed as if it was a combination of both for him. That it was a difficult thing for him to deal with. That relationship did not last much.
Hey, man, this is what I say about those type of dudes. God bless you. Right? That's what I say. Next.
All right, moving to Shaq's podcast. He had Mark Cuban on. I don't know what Mark Cuban's doing with all these podcast appearances. I don't know how he keeps getting booked everywhere. Everyone wants to talk to Mark Cuban. I've seen him on like 10 different podcasts.
He's all over the place. He's on all the news shows.
Him and DeMar DeRozan, just everywhere right now, talking to people. And he loves this, this is what the Mavs almost did conversation. He loves telling you what he was almost able to pull off. Here he is talking to Shaq about nearly getting Kobe Bryant.
Do you realize how close we were to trading for Kobe in 2007? Oh, my God. It was like literally this close. I talked to Jerry Buss and worked something out with Jerry because Kobe had asked to leave. Jerry said, okay, if you want to leave, we'll take care of it, Genie and everything. And so I talked to him, and it was going to be Josh Howard and Jason Terry and picks. And no Dirk, because I said anybody but Dirk. I literally remember telling this dude, guess what? Kobe's going to be a Mav. And I literally thought it was done. And then Mitch Kupchak obviously stepped up and said, we can't do this, talk Kobe out of it, and the rest is history.
Wow. How about that?
Kobe and Mav? That would have been awkward and weird.
Absolute heist if you're able to get Dirk and Kobe on the same team.
Yeah, how about that? That would have been something else.
Yeah, it worked out, though. They won the title a few years later in Dallas.
With Dirk.
Yeah, but I imagine if I'm listening to that in Dallas, like, how many more titles would I have
Can you
had?
think of anybody else that was on that team?
On the Mavericks team?
That won?
I don't think I can. Ray, do you know anyone besides Dirk?
Kid?
Jason Kidd?
Kid on that 11?
Was Kidd on that team?
I think he was.
Yeah, 2011 team.
Who else?
Barea?
You can't think. That's got to be the most indistinguishable championship team ever. It was just Dirk. All you remember is Dirk.
Yeah, all you do remember is Dirk. Good for Dirk.
All right, let's move on.
All right, last
Story
one
3.
here. Aaron Rodgers wants you to know, if you think he got Robert Saleh fired, he did not. And he doesn't have a lot to say about it unless you ask him about it. Then he's going to have a lot to say about it.
As far as any of the ridiculous allegations out there, I'm not going to spend more than one sentence in response to it, and that is that I resent any of those accusations because they're patently false. And it's interesting the amount of power that people think that I have, which I don't. But I love Robert, and it was one of those days yesterday.
That was a really long run-on sentence.
That was more than one sentence.
Yeah, it was one sentence. It was a run-on sentence, though. It just went on and on.
Run-on.
And who doesn't believe that Aaron Rodgers didn't have influence on that? It's like LeBron didn't have any influence on getting his coach fired.
Yeah, or getting
JJ
Redick hired.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
I love him. I got him fired, but I love him.
Yeah. He didn't love him. Nor should he have loved him. That guy was as stiff as
Who,
heck.
Saleh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Saleh.
But that was the guiltiest he has ever sounded.
Well, it's also interesting that it got reported that Saleh was considering either firing or taking the play calling away from Nathaniel Hackett, and then, boom, he gets fired. And Hackett is Rodgers' boy.
There are some people that just like you're a coordinator. That's what you are. You're not a head coach. And people keep it's funny how the way people keep reaching out for coordinators to be head coaches.
Doesn't always work.
No, it doesn't.
He was a great defensive coordinator in San Fran.
He was. All right, that's the news at noon. Let's back to the phones here. See if I can reach. Yeah, I can reach. All right, let's go to Jay in Brooklyn. Jay, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Jay.
Hey, what's going on, Philadelphia?
What's up, Jay?
Hey, so...
you're a Mets fan. First Mets fan of the day. Go ahead. You're in a position of strength.
Hey, no. First off, New York has always been in the position of strength.
Nah.
You got to understand that. Hold on a second. How dare you guys come out and say you'll understand if you lose to the Padres or the Dodgers, but not the Mets?
Dude, you haven't won a World Series since 1986. What are you talking about?
We're talking about today. You guys had a 90.
No, you just said you've always been in a position of strength. What are you talking about?
Oh, come on. Are you saying summertime? The Knicks, baby. What happened to your Sixers?
Jay, I can't listen. I can't say anything to you. I will say this though: the Padres and the Dodgers right now are probably on paper better teams than the Mets. The Mets caught a roll. They you weren't thinking they could do this. Come on.
Of course.
All right. Well, then don't tell me how good of a team they are. Then
you guys are all scrambling now to.
I'm scrambling. They got. I don't know if you've been listening to the show. I said the Mets earned it. The Mets played better than the Phillies in this series. But if you're going to tell me they're a better team than the Padres or Dodgers right now, I don't think they are.
Of course we are. Do you see what we're doing?
I know. You're on a roll. Those rolls can stop sudden.
The roll doesn't stop, baby. It doesn't stop. I'm hearing from Philly fans we shouldn't have had a week off rest.
Hey, listen.
What
man,
do you mean?
I can't say anything to you right now. You're riding high. You're in Metsville.
Your guy Bowman's what, 3 for 38?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You know, listen. You're telling us stuff that we already know, brother. So what is the aim of your call here today?
Bryce Harper.
Wait. What is the aim of your call? Do you just want to say na?
Yeah, he wants to gloat.
No.
You just want to gloat?
Listen, I got to just say you guys have amazing Philly cheesesteaks, but that's all you guys got. You got to remember, son, New York runs sports in general.
New York does not run sports, and I can tell you that because I was a sports talk host in New York City. And your fandom is not as passionate as this fandom here. You're all fragmented. So collectively, you're not as good a sports city as Philadelphia.
No, and if he wants to call in and gloat about winning this series, that's fine. But to say they've always been better, and then he cites the Knicks. They haven't won a championship since '73.
2 years ago, the Phillies went to the World Series, and then they went to the NLCS. Did the Mets do that?
They have not. And how are the Giants doing right now?
Yeah, come on.
How are the Jets doing right now?
Come on, brother. Come on. Keep it in perspective.
It was nice that he followed the Robert Saleh conversation.
Yeah. I wonder if he was a Jets guy, right? It's Jets and Mets usually.
Mets, Jets, it's Giants, Yankees.
Usually.
It's the elite. The elite go Giants, Yankees. The blue collars go Jets, Mets because they're the franchises that get the dirt kicked on them the most.
But then the Knicks, is it anybody?
Knicks all in. Everybody's Knicks.
Everybody's Knicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, citing to the Knicks, I get it. They did beat the 76ers, but to say they've always run the world is pretty tough.
Yeah, they always run the sports world.
And then they lost.
Yeah. But like I say, I'm not going to bitch about a guy gloating about the Mets.
No,
I got nothing. Wait, I got nothing.
Ray, was it confirmed? I saw a video circulating Twitter, but I didn't know if it was accurate, that the Yankees fans were chanting bleep Embiid after their win. Was that accurate or was that fake?
No, that was vulgar.
What the hell are they doing that for? What do the Yankees fans care about Joel Embiid for after a Yankees win of a baseball game?
Man, he's in their head. I don't know what to tell you. They're thinking about him already, clearly.
I knew we were going to get one New York type call today, but I welcome them all. Like I say, I'm on a cross right now.
You look like you are standing up, too.
I'm on a cross. I got nothing. I got nothing in response.
It is a weird dynamic. Just the look in the room.
I got nothing.
Right now.
I have no.
With him standing?
I have no defense.
I feel intimidated because I'm sitting and he's just looking down at
I'm
me.
touchdown Jesus.
He's been looking.
Well, I am. There I am. Touchdown
Please.
Jesus.
Don't make me come in there, Ray.
Let's go to Lance in Arizona. Lance, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Lance?
Hey, so yeah, a couple things. I know you guys were talking about Estevez, but the biggest problem with bringing in Estevez into Game 4 was that you used him in the 9th inning in Game 3, and he threw 26 pitches, so the Mets saw him a lot the day before, and he wasn't going to have his best stuff. So to me, when they got down 4-0 in Game 3, if you weren't going to use him then, you should have just not used him for that game because you brought in Alvarado and Jose Ruiz.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You're right about that. They probably shouldn't have used them.
But so at this point, like my biggest problem is their lineup, and I've called you guys before, and I said they miss Rhys Hoskins, not just for his production, but he sees a lot.
You know, somehow you evaporated from.
I think Ray heard Rhys
Arizona.
Hoskins and dumped him.
Is that what happened?
No,
He's still there on the
we
line.
lost Lance.
No, he's still there.
Listen, originally, I thought that would have been a move. That he would have signed a 1-year contract and play first base. We'd have to put up with him not catching routine throws, but I thought Harper was well enough to play right field, which would have eliminated your left field problem.
What,
That's
you
what I
moved
said
Casty to left?
originally. Yes, but I think in a lot of ways Harper buried Hoskins because he said, no, I want to play first base. 610-632-0975. Back after this. Mannequin?
Nope. Mannequin. Yep, they're good. Good band.
Mannequin.
Oh,
sometimes. Oh, I have no voice at all today. All right, so I just let me the guy that brought up my podcast, right? This is totally unexpected. This is somehow it's gotten national attention. So CBS Saturday Morning, and the one of the anchors is Dana Jacobson, who formerly was an ESPN anchor. So they came to my hometown yesterday to do a story on this podcast that I'm doing called The Coldest Murder. So they brought in an entire crew, lighting crew, sound man, the whole bit. Like what I totally didn't expect. And Dana interviewed me for the thing as we're looking at the river. And then they took me around my little town of Bristol in front of the church where the murder unfortunately happened. And then at my childhood house. But I was like standing across the street saying, this is where I grew up. This is where I was playing football with my brother when news of that murder happened.
Did you knock on the door and tell the people?
No, I did not knock on the door. We didn't get on their property.
Gotcha.
We stayed across the street, and that's how they shot it. But the story is going to be done on CBS Saturday Morning, either, I think I was told, the 26th of October or whatever that November day is on Saturday, the first November Saturday.
Got it. This is all great, man. I mean, because hopefully it's bringing a lot of attention back to this murder that they're going to be able to figure
really
this out.
is, and I think that's the one good thing about it, because that's kind of what I wanted to do when to reawaken law enforcement. And the DA is now firmly engaged, Bucks County DA, and the lead investigator who still has this case. Apparently, it's loosening up to put more resources in it to get these DNA tests done to find out who exactly was the killer. And that's kind of my aim.
And what are you up to 8 episodes now?
I think it's 9.
9.
Yeah, it's 9. And I was able now to I got in contact with her sister, the murdered girl's sister, who was younger, was 4. She was 9 when she was murdered.
Wow.
So now the sister is going to talk to me about, like, she was 4, so she didn't really have any kind of impression except the aftermath of it.
Yeah, I'm sure that impacted the family forever.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Richard in Morrisville. Richard, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Richard?
Hey, good morning, Mike. Congratulations, or let me say, well done on the podcast.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We don't talk about it. It hasn't been brought up much. And
yeah, are you listening to the podcast?
I haven't.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I listened to you, and I've been following it a little bit, just reading about it online.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to everybody who lives in that. And you're in Bucks County, you're in Morrisville. That's the town over from Bristol. So,
I grew up in Philly, but been around Bristol and Bucks my whole life, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think you'll be interested by it then.
So Mike, and Bill and Ray, I'm sick of this, man. I don't understand why we rationalize, but these guys are well compensated to not be in the excuse-making business. They get softball questions, or they don't get. I don't think they get enough pressure put on them, where they get a couple of heated questions and then they turn and run, tuck their tail between their legs. The other big problem that I have with the whole situation, Mike, is you can be even-tempered, and you can be monotone when it comes to certain things. But there are situations, especially when it gets into this point of the year, where you step up, and it's overall, not just the players, but management, other players, et cetera. So we're the hot team. We're not the hot team. We're the cold team. It's just so weird, man. And I'm upset.
Well, Richard, what are you suggesting? I think you're suggesting build some kind of a fire, right?
So that's what I was. That's the other. So I apologize because it's going long, but yes, absolutely. No. Just set something where they understand from the top to the bottom. They came in with this mentality that we're going to get through the season to perform now. And there was nothing where these guys came out, and I felt at the end, and it was just faded.
Yeah,
so
but,
weird,
but
man.
the funny thing is they had all this success with the same type of attitude. Like they started on like there was nobody was telling them, nobody was motivating them, nobody was lighting a fire under them. They trusted their abilities and they got off to a great start. So like now it's easy to go back and go, well, they need emotion now. Now you got to let it fire. I don't know what that does for a baseball player. I think my sense is it puts more pressure on a baseball player when somebody is screaming at you. You got to play better. They know they have to play better. They know they have to hit better. They know their approach has to be better. It's just a matter of getting in there and trusting an approach. They didn't have that. That's on the player.
Yeah, but at what point? At what point does the manager have to do something different? Because you're right, they came out to a great
start.
start.
Do something different. He benched Bohm.
Yeah, too
Try
late.
To do something. He put Cody Clemens in there. He put Weston Wilson in there. What do you want him to?
That's too little, too late.
That's
Mike.
too little, too late.
When you start the season 45-19, when they won June 8th in London against the Mets, they were 45-19.
Yes, they were.
They proceeded to finish, including the NLDS, 51-51. How many games was it going to take before Rob Thompson decided I got to do something?
And you're a manager, and you go, okay, here's what I got to do. I got to bench a guy who's not. I know is better than the guy I'm going to put in there. And what am I going to do? Cross my fingers? Like I'm not playing my best guy. Just I don't see baseball is so different that way that you can't yell at a guy to motivate him to be a better hitter. You can't.
You got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, you keep saying you got to do something, but you never offer what?
Maybe move around the lineup a little bit. Or maybe talk to Dombrowski. Yo, dude, I need more moves at the deadline.
Are you going to move?
We got to shake things up.
Did you trust the bottom of the lineup to move any of those guys in more important positions?
The fact that the bottom of the lineup was your center fielder and left fielder says more about your president of baseball operations
All
than
right,
anything
well, then
else.
that's where you're directing it.
I think so.
I'm confused by you.
Well, that's what I said.
You're directing either Rob Thompson or you're directing Dombrowski.
Rob Thompson is too patient. So I do have problems with his approach. But if you're telling me these were the best players and there was nothing he can do, then get better players.
All right. 610-622-0975. Back after this. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. Team moving forward. Oh, man, you got to ponder this after a 4-game series in the playoffs. You got to ponder what's next for the Phillies. Like it's all broken down now.
I didn't think we'd be talking about that this early in October. It's hard, though, Mike, because I want to see them make changes, but we talked a little bit about it earlier. What changes can they make with the way these contracts are set up?
You got the idea. You're trading away.
I'm getting rid of
You're trading away your third baseman because you hate his attitude.
I do. Maybe it's a addition by subtraction. And then I think you could probably, even though he's been your best player now for 2 years probably in Castellanos, you could probably get something and get out from under that monstrosity of a contract.
All right. Well, just to reiterate the numbers, just to make people feel worse, they were 4 for 31 last night. 2 of those 4 were infield hits. They were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They hit 186 as a team. They were outscored 17-5 in those 3 losses. The bullpen gave up 16 earned runs in 11 and 2/3 of an inning with a 12.34 ERA. Other than that, it was a fantastic series for the Phillies as they battled their way through. There's some mystery things that happened in that game in the 6th inning, and then the 4 straight fastballs to Lindor from Estevez. I don't get. The fact that JT Realmuto looked like a washed-up player, he was done. He didn't add anything.
Literally, he batted 0. That's right, batted 0.
He batted 0. Okay, let's go to Pop in Hatboro. Pop, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Pop?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
What's going on, Pop?
Hey, first, you got to move on from Marsh, Bohm, Real Muto. Now, the Bohm, you're probably going to get the most.
You can't move on from Real Muto. You've got a long-term contract with a lot of money.
Okay.
But what are you going to do? You're going to trade him?
We'll get to him in a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Marsh, you can trade him for a bag of doorknobs. Okay? Boom, you can get the most in return. Why not take Trey Turner, slide him to third, go after Willie Adames from the Brewers for your short?
You could do that. You could do that. That would not be a bad solution.
And the Bohm trade, try to get a corner outfielder.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good with your suggestions. That would work. Pop?
Because Turner's not getting younger. You don't want a 40-year-old shortstop.
Well, is he 31 now? 30?
Yeah, but he's real. What would you think of Real Muto becoming your backup catcher and moving him to left field?
Moving who to left field?
Real Muto.
No.
Well, no. Why would you think that would work?
He's on the downside. You got.
What's he going to be in left field? Well, then how can he play left field?
You said you can't get rid of him.
No, you can't.
He's on the downside.
You're going to play him every day as a left fielder and a backup catcher? Is that what your plan is? Come on, Pop.
What about
Pop? So you made a lot of sense, and then you let it all go.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what...
I get it, but you can't put square pegs in round holes at this point. That's not a solution.
No, and when we're talking about JT...
He can't play left field.
He's losing his ability at the plate. I'm okay with him behind the plate.
Yeah.
You just can't rely on him in the top of your lineup. He could be fine. He could be a catcher who's your 8-hole hitter. I'm okay with that.
Well, at this point, that's what he is, I think. I don't know if he's going to have this resurgence. I mean, as a catcher, you get beat to hell.
Hey, this team won a World Series with Carlos Ruiz, who was just really good behind the plate and came up with a clutch hit every now and then. I'm okay with it. But you need to upgrade your outfield if you're going to have a
meanwhile,
catcher.
They were paying Carlos Ruiz what?
Yeah, they weren't.
They were paying him Panama money.
That's all right. Middleton's got it.
All right, let's go to Dan in Harleysville. Dan, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Dan? Dan in Harleysville. Talking to an empty telephone.
Oh,
there he is.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. I think Dombrowski needs to get a lot more heat than he's getting for just roster construction here. Like, any idiot can be like, here's unlimited money. I'm going to pick a fantasy team that might work on paper, but there's no smoothness to the way that this lineup turns over. It's always herky and jerky, and it's never right because you don't have any of these guys that understand that they don't have to hit home runs and shoot everything. Like you don't have a lot of guys that are just baseball hitters on this lineup. I don't think they have one, frankly.
Yeah, well, the way the baseball has gone, that eliminates the Luis Arises of the world. Baseball isn't played like that anymore. So,
and I don't necessarily think that's you need to go, Guardians style, which is basically the ultimate that. But I think you need, they're like the tendons that kind of hold the muscles together here and there. You need a guy that.
Yeah, I agree. The Mets had that kind of balance, and the Phillies did not have that kind of balance.
And number two, what kind of loser you got to be to call from New York and call?
I would have called.
Like, no, you wouldn't.
Had the Phillies beat the Mets, I would have called the New York station.
Well, all right.
I don't have a problem
you're
with that.
You're the kind of guy. I'm sorry.
Listen, you deserve the gloat, don't you? If you're a Mets fan, you deserve
I'm not
the
a
gloat.
gloater.
All right.
I'm not a gloater.
I hear
especially
you.
after my team's been garbage for God knows how long.
I hear you.
All right.
All right, man. You got it. Appreciate it. All right, so look, they had Marte in the 7th hole. And Tyrone Taylor scraps out in that bat. He knows what he is. Alvarez, same way. Iglesias is like the ultimate hitter that way. They had a little more balance on guys that could get on base. Where it counts.
They did.
That's not usually the way it works in baseball. But all the production, most of the production came from monster home runs. Lindor, Vientos, Nimmo, and Alonso. So still the long ball is what slayed the Phillies.
That nerd Alonso. It's the one thing I said about Aaron Nola. Just don't let that nerd hit a home run. And, of course, we got to see that polar bear running around.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Game 3. Game 3 is lost in the sewer after Game 4.
Well, if you look at both games, Mike, Game 3 and Game 4, both of them were lost in the 6th inning.
Yeah.
In the 6th inning of Game 3, Harper steps up to the plate after Minaya had walked 2 in a row. And then between Harper and Castellanos, they swung at 6 straight pitches to end the inning. Harper strikes out. Castellanos hits into a double play. You and I talked about it the day before that game. Manaya's probably not going 6, but once he got into the 6, and now he's showing that he's getting
wild.
wild.
Him off the hook.
They let him off the hook.
Yep. All right, so that guy we had on didn't come on for like 5-6 seconds. So this is how my brain works. That triggered a scene from a movie where the actor goes, I'm talking to an empty telephone line because on the other end of this telephone is a dead man. Where's that line from?
The other end of this line is a dead man. Give me another.
Who is this? I'm talking to an empty telephone. Because who's ever on the end of that other end of this line is a dead man.
Oh, it's ringing a bell, and I can't get it. Give me something. Who's the actor?
De Niro says it.
Oh.
And he's talking to Roger Van Zant.
I don't know.
Heat.
Heat. It is Heat. Damn it. I almost said Heat. We were talking about Heat the other day.
Van Zant screwed him.
I got to go back and watch that. I love that.
It's on all the time. I saw that the other night. I was watching it. John in Allentown, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. John.
Dylan.
What's up, Johnny?
Okay, so sort of a disclaimer, if you want to call it that. I grew up in Cleveland and have been in Philadelphia area and Philadelphia for about half of my life. So always been a Cleveland fan and have been a Philly fan for about 40 years or so. But so I know what it's like. You get your heart broken, but, you never give up. You don't abandon the team. I don't think anyone's doing that. But I think with the Phillies, I don't have any slick answer as to what to fix. But one of the things that, you select Minaya. Here's a guy who worked his ass off. Granted, he got a little bit lucky, but really reinvented his pitching style.
Yeah, I did.
Maybe we need guys, extra talented people to train him in the off season to maybe reinvent some of their hitting. Try to really put a concerted effort into eliminating bad habits. And you say all the talent they have. Yeah, Harper obviously has tremendous. I'm not sure Turner has tremendous talent. But he's got a lot. Can he get better? I think so.
Well, Turner hit 300 this year, so
I know that's the thing. It sure as hell didn't feel like 300, did it?
I guess it didn't. But at the end of the day, when you're hitting 300,
I understand. That's great. That's great.
I think your approach can be better. I think they panicked. They didn't take an approach. Like they should really have been studying these pitchers' tendencies and what they were going to get in certain counts.
I think so. I mean, baseball's a tough sport. I mean, it was the one I was best at. I wasn't great at it.
Yeah, and this is they should have had it. I don't know what happens behind the scenes with the hitting coaches, whether they map out a game plan for certain pitchers and whether they just see it and they just kind of ignore it. Like when you take a golf lesson, you always revert back to what you knew before.
Feels like Long's a good coach. What about Turner's fielding? I mean, he gets.
I think
that could be better. That could be better.
You're right. He has a lack of concentration sometimes, but I think a lot of it is he makes throwing errors more than anything because he slings it from the side, and that's always going to sail a ball.
Yeah, he can change that.
He can change that. He can come over the top more.
Yeah, and and one more thing. I didn't say a thing, but I guess I'm going to go for the Eagles this week because I can't root for the Browns anymore when they got
especially when they're an 8-point underdog.
In prison.
Yeah.
No, because they have a guy in prison as their quarterback. It's just too hard to. It's too hard.
Are you talking about Deshaun Watson? He never went to prison, did he?
No, I think he was just sued for that.
I think he said he should be.
Oh, he should be in prison. No, he settled. I think a couple of late suits.
Is there new ones now too? Or?
Yeah, somebody else came out. I think he settled it.
They should dominate. We'll preview that game tomorrow, though. Today's a Phillies day.
Yeah, that story he's just a pervert.
That's what it sounds like.
That's perverted. David in Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. David. Yo, Dave. What is it with that empty telephone line? David? There he is.
There he is.
Go ahead, David.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Okay. Can I ask you guys a question?
Certainly. That's why we're here.
All right. You know what the difference is that I see, at least, in the Phillies the past 2 years versus this year?
What's that?
In the past 2 years, they were the underdog, right? Going into the playoffs, they had the underdog, no one expected us to be here kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. We've been hearing a lot that this Mets team looked like them, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so when you're the underdog, you're coming to slay Goliath, right? You know that you're not more talented than the Braves or the Padres, or not the Padres, the Dodgers, etc. So you come in with the game plan because you know the team, so you have to have a plan. The Mets came in, they had a plan, and their plan was, number one, Harper's not going to beat us. And number two, we know that these guys are prolific hitters. So how do we take advantage of that? And they're aggressive on top of that. Let's give them nothing to hit, and see if they hit it. And the answer was, they're not going to hit it, but they're going to go after it. And they just kept doing that because it was working. Now,
but the Phillies also got them in pretty good counts last night, and they still didn't deliver.
They did, but it was too little too late because the worst part is that the Phillies looked completely unprepared. Like they just had no idea the Mets were going to have a plan against them because they didn't have a response.
No, you're absolutely right on a lot of fronts. And but here's the thing. Okay, they function better as the underdog is the point. Well, guess what? If you're a good enough team, you should be able to handle that role as a favorite. Like you can't say, "Well, we should have been the underdog. We would have been more feisty." Nah, you were what you were. You finished with the second best record in the National League. You should be able to handle that role, and they didn't.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that mentality, and that's something that we have in Philly, though. Is we love as a fan base
the underdog
to be the underdog, but that shouldn't matter. If you're a good baseball team, you're a good baseball team.
Yeah, no, you're right. Joe in Mantua, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
What's up, Joey?
I don't know where to start, but like last night I was watching that game. It was like just waiting for the car crash. You knew it was coming, just a matter of when.
Yep.
But, what can you do? But I think next year they're pretty much going to run it back the same way it is this year, aside from left field. I mean, JT's signed through, 26?
Yeah, they've got to run it back a lot, but they can make some moves in certain positions, which I think they will.
The thing I'll do most, not the most important thing, but Garrett Stubbs is done. I would bring up that Marchand, let him fill his role, plus 20 more games. see what you got. I think he's a decent player. He looked okay when he was up.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
If he could stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, and as far as left field, they got to get somebody out there. I mean, it's Austin. Was it Austin Hayes? And Marsh he had a good start, but he kind of leveled off, and he is what he is.
Hayes has a 1-year deal left, though.
He's eligible for ARB, I think.
Is he? Well.
And as far as Rojas goes, I leave him out there again next year. I mean, he can't hit, but I think he batted 240 this year. That's kind of the major league average. And if he's the biggest problem, and you don't have too many problems, but keep him there, wait for Justin Crawford to be ready, and the same thing with Bohm. I mean, and you look at Schwarber, he's got 1 year left, I believe, and I'd hate to see him go, but I don't want to sign him again. And the same with Castellanos. He's got 2 years left, and
next year they're pretty much committed to the same team, except if they make a couple trades of Marsh and Bohm or Bohm.
Left field's the biggest priority. They got to get some more pop in the outfield.
Yes, they do.
But again, I'm okay with Rojas. His defense, I think he's worth a couple of runs a week anyway. But we'll see what happens. But go Eagles! What are you going to
do? Go Birds!
All right, Joe. I'm not a big Rojas guy, so
no, you're not.
No,
but
I'm going to replace him with Crawford eventually. I don't, what are you going to do? He's not a hitter. He's not a hitter at this level. He hit 240, and what did he produce? Was he a productive 240? Yeah, he's a feeble 240.
Yeah, when he gets on base, it doesn't look like he deserves to get on.
Exactly.
But the caller talked about Schwarber, JT. Both of them, this would be the final year of their deal coming up, right?
Yeah.
What if Schwarber says, I want a new deal? I don't want to play the final year of my deal.
I don't think Schwarber would do that. He's played on final years a lot in his career.
Because I love Kyle, too, but I don't know if I'm extending him.
Well, how old is he?
Let's see. How old is he, Ray? You usually know these things.
Still has thunder, though. You got to have...
31. 31.
You got to have it. No, he's fine. You got to have a thunder bat in there. I don't know what they would resign him at, but he's you talk about a 40 home run guy. They don't grow on trees.
You know what's going to be annoying this offseason?
What?
The conversation that's going to resurface. Should Schwarber be leadoff?
Well,
that's coming back.
Of course. That's how he would have changed the lineup, Bill.
Yeah. Maybe he should have. I don't know.
Shake it up, Bill.
I was over that argument. I love having Schwarber as the leadoff, but who knows? Everything's on the table now.
You opened up that for the last hour of the show.
You did.
We sit here.
You got to do something. You got to shake up the lineup.
Is that what I sound like? He's not doing me.
Yeah, that's what you sound like.
Is that what I sound like?
Exactly.
No comment. Yeah. No comment. I'm going to keep the peace in the day after.
Yeah, poor Ray yesterday. If you should have seen Ray.
What was going on yesterday? Amy was in, does a fine job.
And Amy, has a smile on her face. She was upset, too, though, with the way Game 3 went. But Ray literally looked like
death.
He had been dragged out of bed.
Really?
That if it was up to him, he would have just been curled up, fetal position.
Wow. Because you knew it was over?
Yeah,
I don't.
You didn't think they were going to come back?
No. I'll be honest with you. Like, the fact that I gave kudos earlier to Suarez was because I thought it was going to be like 2 innings of Suarez, and then someone was going to blow up in the 3rd or 4th, and I'd be just sitting there watching slowly as at bat after at bat after at bat, they did not do anything.
Fortunately, they had to get longer at Suarez, and he burned that in the 1st inning.
You got to stop hating on him.
No, I'm not hating on him. It's like you make it seem like he climbed Mount Everest.
But, dude,
crying out loud.
Ranger Suarez had not pitched 6 innings.
I don't care.
In almost 3 months.
I don't care about that. This is what you have to keep your team in the game. He did, but he burned out, and they had to use high leverage guys in the 5th. I don't reward that. I say, I give him a pat on the head. I don't give him a pat on the ass.
Nah, he battled.
That's different.
Ranger deserves a pat on the ass.
1 o'clock hour coming your way right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli Show has been holding court.
This is the way he learned how to manage. That veteran players that are signed to big, high contracts are better suited just letting them control their own narrative rather than some false tough guy voice coming out.
And how did that work?
Well, but you can't.
2 years in a row now it didn't work.
If you are a certain guy, you can't turn into a tiger. It's phony to players, Bill.
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
I think you should have held people accountable a lot earlier.
I don't know what that means. I'll hold people accountable. Tell me what that means exactly. Tell me this is what I'm asking you. What would he have done?
I think he eventually
what
did
is your idea on what he should have done? Kick over a table? Have more team meetings? Tell these guys, you got to play better. What would you, what, bench guys? Tell me what you would have done.
Yes, I would have benched guys.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
1 o'clock hour of the Mike Missanelli Show. It's brought to you by Ferguson HVAC, Lyon, Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors, equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job are available at one of their counter locations. Closest one to you, Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester, and our 12 o'clock hour, which was very busy. Service First Heating and Air Conditioning brought it to us. Get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirst.hvac.com. Okay, so let's go back to the fateful sixth inning. The sixth inning, and we'll go to the bottom of it in a second. But Harper leads off the sixth for the Phillies. It's a 1-0 game. He leads off with a double. Castellanos, who has escaped blame here because he had a decent enough series, right? He struck out on a bad pitch. He did not get the tying run to third base. Bohm walks. Slider down the middle. Real Ruto strikes out on. Stock grounds out. And that's it. Now we go to the bottom of the sixth, and here's where the tide turns. You have to stay in the game. In the sixth inning, he used Hoffman in the fifth to get Alonso and Iglesias, two right-handed batters. I got no problem with that. He then has to bring him out for the sixth. Martinez leads it off with a single up the middle, and he throws a wild pitch to get him to second base. Is this the tip-off? Because you're now seeing that he's all over the place. You now have decided you're not going to use Wheeler in this kind of a situation, which maybe, in second thought, you probably should. If you're going to save the season, you probably have to use Wheeler. He didn't. But he has Estevez warming up. Then he hits Marte. And this is where I would have taken him out of the game. He had absolutely zero command. So what way do you think he was going to get out of this inning? He wild pitches to the guy's second to third, and then he walks Tyrone Taylor. The bases are loaded, nobody out. And then he brings Estevez in, who throws 4 straight fastballs.
And I think did you mention I may have ADD'd on you? There was a second wild pitch in there.
Yeah. You did ADD.
Yeah, ADD'd on you for a second.
You did.
Because I was looking at.
He had the wild pitch off. Martinez singles up the middle. Wild pitch to second base. Hits Marte, then throws another wild pitch to move him to second and third. You ADD'd.
Yep. Yeah, because the reason why I did is I was looking back at the bottom of the sixth.
Yeah.
In the last game.
So there it is. You bring Alvarez in. All right, get us out of here. I got to force it home. You got to force it home, right? And then 4 straight fastballs of Lindor. Bang. Now, whose fault is that? Whose fault is the 4 straight fastballs? Because I didn't see him shake off JT. Is JT pushing the button 4 straight fastballs? Is he getting that from the pitching coach to throw fastballs there? You don't let him see a different spin? You don't see him see a different elevation? You throw 4 straight fastballs. To the Jose Lindor. Francisco Lindor. Jose. Forget that.
He didn't shake him off, but I don't know. A caller called earlier. I questioned in Game 3 why Estevez is in the game, pitching all those pitches, and then he comes out in Game 4. I don't know. Is that all he had?
If you've got Wheeler ready, he comes out and pitches the 6th and the 7th and maybe the 8th. Or maybe just 2. You ask him for 2 innings, and that's fine.
And you also have Sanchez available.
Correct.
You could go 2 and 2. Wheeler could pitch 2.
Exactly.
Sanchez
and you
could pitch 2.
don't worry about the Game 5 starter. At that point, you're just trying to survive. You go, all right, what am I going to do? I have to make this a bullpen game? What? Okay. If it takes a bullpen game to win Game 5, we'll have to do that. But I can't lose this game because it's the end of the season. Let's go to John in New York. John, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. John.
What's up, man?
What's up, Johnny?
You already know, man, I'm a Mets fan. I'm not here to rub salt and no wounds. You guys are a great team. I want to say something, man. I think you guys got robbed, honestly, on that Alec Boehm hit. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel bad. I only want to win on good calls.
What, are you talking about the foul ball?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fair ball.
I thought it was foul.
You thought it was foul?
No, it was fair.
I thought it was bounced.
No, I thought it was foul. You got to look at it. It goes over the bag on the left side of it. It doesn't go over the bag. It goes left of it.
Yeah. All right, that's true. But, yeah, man, honestly, you guys are a great team. But the truth is, I think you guys could have had King Kong, Godzilla, Superman, anybody on that team. They're not beating the Mets this year. They got some type of energy behind them.
They really do. It's impressive to watch. As much as I hate to say that, it's impressive to see a gutty team like that, a hungry team.
Mm-hmm. No, it feels unreal, honestly. I'm not going to lie. It feels unreal. We never.
You're right, because the Mets usually met, right? This is completely different. A completely different face they're showing.
Yeah, it's feeling like the Met is turning into the Philly now. Honestly, because
listen, good luck to you. I would not count the Mets out in the next series either. The way they're playing, and the way they're pitching. Their pitching's been phenomenal. They're starting pitching.
Yeah, we didn't expect.
And their bullpen, which is not good, has survived.
The bullpen survived, but it's not like the Phillies really tested the bullpen that much.
They got Garrett in there to get 2 outs after Quintana gets out of there. They got Peterson, who has been solid. He gives them 2 1/3. And then Diaz, who was shaky as hell, and the Phillies let him off the hook in the 9th. Because I've seen that guy explode. He had to say, I can't even throw a breaking pitch here. I've got to now go all fastball. And he beat Cody Clemens with it. And that was the key right there.
Cody Clemens.
All he does is rake. Tom in Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tom.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's up, Tom? How you doing?
All right. I was just thinking, going forward, in this off season, obviously we have a surplus of power hitters. I'd like to see us somehow just bring in a couple just solid hitters with higher averages that will work the count, get the higher pitches up, get on base where our power hitters can get more than a run in with a home run, and then on top of it, there's a couple instances, say if there was a man on third, during these games, and it was 1 out, and the guy would hit the ball further, we could at least get a sacrifice run in. I just think there's too much. I know it sounds weird, too much power, but not enough.
No, you're probably right about that. But now let's see how they can do that, because the only places you can do that now are in center field and left field. Now, do you like Rojas as that type of guy?
No, to be honest, I know it's going to sound crazy. I'm not 100% on all the contract, everything. I think we got such a surplus of power hitters. Maybe trading away for guys that are really good, but they're just more.
No, I get it, but you got to formulate some kind of a trade to get those type of players.
Right.
So I'm asking you, who would you trade?
That's all. I'd be willing. I know it's going to sound crazy. I'd be willing to let Schwarber go if we can get a couple guys in there that'll be more consistent, and then even Nick, even though Nick finally made some, earned his money this year. But the last 2 years, I don't think he has. And then, I'm willing. I personally would be willing to let go a couple of powers to bring in a few more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you said Schwarber. Not going to probably move Schwarber.
No.
And Castellanos is a possibility to trade, but at $20 million, I don't know.
Castellanos is a possibility.
$20 million player to other teams.
But when he's talking about there's too much power, I don't know if I agree with it. You look at Brandon Marsh. Marsh only had 16 home runs, but he struck out 154
I think he's
times.
talking about their approach. Their approach is a power approach.
See, I wouldn't have minded a true power bat in the outfield, but you can't strike out like Marsh is striking out and not hit for power.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I don't know. Marsh probably is unlikely to be back, I would think. And they give the job to Rojas on an everyday basis. Let's go to Steele in Ocean City. What's up, Steele? Haven't heard from you in years, brother.
Good afternoon, my
How
friend.
are you, Steele?
Well, I got the biggest question, and let's forget about sports for just 2 seconds. I know you're handicapped. When is the next Mike Miss Open?
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe in the spring because I just got back here.
Okay, my friend. You always have a seat open at the crab trap. You know that.
Yes, sir. I do knew that. Thank you.
All right, my friend. The previous caller, I have a trade. It might be pie in the sky, but I kind of piggyback on the caller previous lack of power in left field, center field. You're not going to win a World Series without those guys, being better. And if you want to hear my trade, it might be not feasible, but I'll be happy to tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like the Phillies to trade Alec Bohm, Nick Castellanos to St. Louis for Arenado, and then fill in the outfield positions. What do you think?
No one Arenado is 35 years old now, I think.
Well, they're third baseman for the Cardinals.
Yeah, he's 35 years old, or 33, but he had a down year. He almost looks played out.
So you think he's shot?
I wouldn't rely on him.
Okay, so that trade.
33. He's 33.
Yeah, he's I just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill, Mike just. Bill
doesn't listen to anything I say.
No, I heard exactly what you said. I'm confirming. You said I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You said I think.
Yeah.
I'm saying he is. He's 33.
Right, yeah,
I just looked it up.
He's 33. I got it right in front of me, yeah. That's why I said 33.
I thought you just knew it offhand. I thought you knew it offhand.
I think Mike just, Bill, you play the game. I think Mike just threw a divot over my suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were talking about acquiring him a couple of years ago, and I was on board. But now, he doesn't look the same to me.
Well, all right. I know I'm running out of time. This Bone's 29. That was very immature. Do you keep him, Mike? And I'll let you go.
Well, I actually would keep him. I think he showed that he was a really good hitter early this year, and that's why he made the All-Star team. Now, I don't know what happened to him over the second half, but I thought he had morphed into a pretty good hitter. His attitude stinks, so we want to get rid of him for that. Whatever. Arenado hit 272 this year with 16 home runs. He's declining. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. I came in not in the greatest shape, but I did stay off the painkillers prior to the show, Bill.
You may have wanted to take them.
I didn't want to sound slurry and do my job like the Phillies did last night, which was asleep.
Yeah, maybe you could give him the Ray because he's in a lot of pain this morning after watching.
Yeah, Ray is in
loss.
mental pain. I'm in physical pain, but what happened last night was totally unexpected. I was disbelieving of it. I really was. I didn't think there was any way they were going to lose this series, much less in 4 games. But they go there and they lose both.
Now, you said you were in disbelief before the series, but yesterday, because you weren't here yesterday, what were your thoughts about last night? Did you think they were going to win?
I didn't think their offense. I thought their offense had died. And so I was hoping for a miracle in Game 4. But after what they showed in Game 3, their offense was just done. It was finished. There was no way that they were going to be able to score enough runs.
It's the second year in a row now that we've seen it, and we keep asking, how can they change things? How can they change things? It's going to be hard to make a lot of changes.
They got to get a better balanced lineup. It's clearly not a balanced lineup. That's what we learned from this whole thing. Let's go to Rob on the cell. Rob, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rob.
Hey, guys. So I'm stumped on the fact that Bill wants to give Ranger a Cy Young for
He does. He wants to give him a consolation prize.
How do you not give Ranger credit, Rob?
97 pitches in 4 1/3 innings. 97.
You would agree, Ranger Suarez has not been healthy for months. He has not pitched that well in months. And the fact that he showed up.
We understand that.
And
but
gave you what he gave you.
The fact that he shows up shouldn't get a blue ribbon.
He battled. Granted,
he walked 4 guys. He put him in the first inning. Rob Thompson says, I got to give somebody now to pitch in the 5th.
Yeah, but you knew that going in, that Ranger wasn't going to give you 6 or 7 innings.
Well, I was hoping that he would get out of the first inning in 15 or so less pitches.
And the other thing, you just mentioned it, Mike. Do you ever see Bryce Harper get 4 fastballs in a row? Like, who in their right mind would just Lindor, their best hitter, just give him these?
I really do not understand that, and I don't know if a question was asked about that after the game that he would get 4 straight fastballs. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. The other thing, when I can't recall Hoffman being brought out for a second inning. He's a 1-inning guy. When do ever?
Yeah, they brought him out a couple times that way, but it was evident. Like when he hits the guy, that's it. He's thrown 2 wild pitches and he hit a guy. So
he looked lost.
Yeah. So at that point, that's where you got to make the move. You got somebody ready. You can't wait till the bases are loaded.
And going back to our wonderful trading deadline, Austin Hayes. What is Austin Hayes?
Yeah,
wow.
well,
I mean,
Dombrowski
talked about him as I had my eye on him for a couple of years.
We look at it now. It was a misguided acquisition, but the guy had been a pretty good player in the league to the point where he made an all-star team. So you look at the Orioles. They were deep, but maybe they knew something. That he was missing something. And then he got hurt, and he never got back. So that was a wasted acquisition, which goes back to Bill. They should have got Randy Arozarena or Lewis Robert.
Or even...
It feeds the beast.
Chisholm looks pretty good in New York.
Jazz Chisholm? He's playing third base for him.
He is, but you could have played him in the outfield. He could have even been your center fielder.
Yeah. He didn't like
I hate it. You know what? And that type of attitude, maybe that's what this team needed. Change up the clubhouse a little bit.
Maybe.
It's all the same guys.
Right.
All the same personalities.
Like I say, I got no retort.
No retort.
You got me today, and you can say anything you want.
I'll tell you, I'm not enjoying my victory lap. I much rather would be sitting here talking about Game 5.
Let's go to Mike on the cell.
You're liking it a lot.
Mike,
not at all.
Mike, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mike.
How you doing, Mike?
What's up, buddy?
Who was that guy? Was that Tim Kirchin?
What?
That guy sounded just like Tim Kirchin.
He kind of did.
You're right. He made all the points that I'm talking to my friends about today. And, there's plenty of managerial blame in my end. And it's obviously those micro measures because the team couldn't pick themselves up, so the manager had to make some kind of decisions that would have. But, we're going to sit here and we're going to be arguing with each other. We're sitting here saying, well, why did he bring Strom in the 9th in the game that they won? Because he had 3 out of 4 right hand. We're going to sit there all day screaming at each other about all these decisions that were made, especially the Estevez last night. I said it
ever since they got him, I hate his delivery. I hate his face. I hate everything about him. I cannot stand him. And he's one of those guys. Austin Hayes is a guy who could be that guy, but he's a contact hitter. He was producing before he got sick.
Yeah.
And it stinks that that's how that went down. So we'll just leave it at that. I'm going to look towards the future, and I'm going to say that next year, I think that they have a good situation going into next year because now they know they have to have what the 08 Phillies had. They need to worry about roles. Not all these extra platoon players. Everybody has to have a role. Everybody on the 08 Phillies team played every day. And for the most part, everyone on that Mets team plays just about every day. So that's how I feel about them. They need a closer. They need a sixth, a seventh, an eighth inning guy. They need to say that that's what their job is. And
all right, so let me just stop you. So you're okay with playing Hayes and Rojas every day?
No, that's what I didn't omit that, but I would have omitted to the fact that I would definitely look into how you can get more of a five-tool or power hitting outfield to complement Castellanos if he's going to stay here. Definitely need more contributions and definitely need a lot more from center field, maybe with those guys that guy was alluding to earlier about having a guy who can work the count a little bit more, maybe a little less power, a little bit more discipline.
Yeah, I got you. Kind of like a Nimmo type of regular player. You like Nimmo? You don't like Nimmo.
Ray's not a big fan of his.
Ray's not a fan. You guys have these personal things, these hate to face things with certain guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go like
I'm not about
Alonso.
that.
I don't like Alonso because I hate his demeanor. I hate his face. I hate Nimmo because he's Nimmo.
I'll tell you who I don't hate.
You nailed it there.
This may be too soon to admit it, but I like Francisco Lindor, man.
Oh, you do? Well, he's only been an all-star player for 10 years. I guess
not the way he plays.
What a revelation! He likes Lindor.
No, I'm talking about.
Think he's good?
He hits obviously he's good. He hits that grand slam last night. Looked like it was just an
you like this
everyday
lack
thing,
of emotion.
man. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Barely smiled.
His lack of emotion in the players, hates it in his manager.
He does. It's amazing. He doesn't like the emotional.
Because
we got a break, man.
Because Lindor is delivering. There's a difference.
Mike Missanelli Show continues. We're all losing our edge. Phillies are done. I think about how long we were expecting to talk about them.
It's crazy, man.
They've left us only with your boy, Vic Sirianni.
So much
and
good.
Your boy's boy, Jalen Hurts.
That's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
Oh, well, at least they're on the same page now. They had a harmonious meeting during the bye.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they had a harmonious meeting. Let's get to the text board. What we got, Ray?
Rob Thompson has lost his job about 150 times here.
Yeah, they love to blame the manager.
Yeah. Mike in Charleston wants to check in with, they all should have had the mindset of seeing as many pitches as possible from the start of Game 1 because of how much the Mets bullpen was used prior to the series. That should have been communicated by the coaching staff. This hands-off, letting them be who they are approach is lazy, all caps, lazy by the manager. That's why they scuffled the second half of the year.
We don't know if that's the hitting coach's department. We don't know what they were. Again, it's like when you get in a batter's box, you're surviving. You're not thinking about this great plan that the hitting coach or the manager carved out for you. But I hear why that's a complaint from people.
Yeah, but the texter's not wrong with the bullpen. We had talked about it. The bullpen was exhausted for the Mets. They weren't that good. You thought once you got to the bullpen, you were at an advantage.
It's the hitter's fault, though. It's not the manager's fault. It's not the hitting coach's fault. It's the hitter's coach, the hitter's fault, because they should have the plan in their head. If they abandon the plan, they're abandoning it because they're in there trying to survive. Now, I'm not saying that's the right approach, but that's what happened. You can cleanly see it. You would think that the game plan, the offensive game plan, would have been what that caller suggested.
It may have been. But here's the issue. Even if it's the player's fault, we've already acknowledged when you look at a lot of these contracts, you can't move them. So what do? Don't change anything? So you just say, well...
No, I'm not saying... We're on a different subject about changing things. I'm telling you what the perspective is of a hitter. A lot of hitters are afraid to hit with 2 strikes. So they'll go outside and approach. Let's go to Carrie in New Jersey. Well, Carrie's back with us. She's moved from San Francisco back to New Jersey. She's telling people she's from Jersey now.
That was quick, Carrie.
Hello, Carrie.
Oh, man. Can you guys hear me?
We hear you. Are you
I'm
devastated?
unwell. I need to be on a one-way plane back to San Francisco. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Did you get out your frustrations with the massage therapy today or not?
No, I'm off today.
Oh, you're off. Oh, that's a terrible day to be off.
I will continue to do nothing and wallow and sit in the sunshine and be really upset about. I just feel so deflated, Mike. When that grand slam happened last night, it was just like pop, the balloon, and then.
She said popped.
So what?
He thought you leveled an F-bomb there. You went pop, and he thought it was the other thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're all good.
You're all good, Carrie. The worst part, though, Carrie, was didn't they bring you back in just for a second, though, in the 9th where you thought, all right.
That's what I was about to say. They could have done it. And we had a lead off by Schwarber in the top of the series that opened things, and he could have done something there, not even a home run or grand slam, and we could have gotten Harper up.
I was at that first game when he hit the first hit it out, his first bat. I was going, they're going to mash this team. Like it completely went backwards. And here's the thing: at 4-1, Carrie, you didn't have any hope that they were going to come back offensively, did you?
Not a whole lot, but you know me. I'm hopeful.
But I had the feeling they can't possibly score 4 runs. Now they had a chance; they had the tying run at the plate.
If they were acting like who they really are, they would have.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to talk more about. And even Harper said, there's some changes up ahead. I mean, they can't rely on, this outfield discrepancy is ridiculous. I mean, it's almost like you get to the big leagues and you're not the underdog anymore and you can't pull it off.
Yeah.
You just go frozen, and it's unacceptable, inexcusable. I'm devastated. And go Sixers.
You need Cranio.
I do. In fact, would somebody help me out today?
I know. Well, you got to get one of your coworkers to help you out there.
You just reminded me when you said the Cranio. Kerry was the one who called when I was worried last Friday about this series. Said I needed Cranio to relax myself.
Yeah, now she needs Cranio.
Now she needs it. What a difference a week makes, Mike.
No, ninth inning. Here it is. First two runners get on versus Diaz. I've seen this movie play out with this Diaz. Those Mets fans are like eating their fingernails. And Cody Clemens struck out with 2 fastballs. Oh, God. Al in Blackwood, New Jersey. Al, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Al.
Yes. Good afternoon. How are you?
What's up, Al?
I'm calling to try to solve your problem.
You doing what?
I said I'm calling to try to solve your problem. I would get rid of the general manager, the coach, the batting coach, and think about getting rid of some of that minor league instructors or whatever they got in their minor league, because there should be new talent coming out of the minor league.
You're firing everybody.
Yeah,
you're firing everybody. You're just cleaning the house. You're firing the manager. You're firing who else? The coaches, the farm system director. You're getting rid of everybody.
I would get rid of them, and the general manager.
And the general manager, too.
Yeah.
Total purge.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to go.
Yeah. I don't think that's happening, but, it's a thought. JT, is this JT Romuto, Cherry Hill?
He's trying to change the topic.
It's JT. What's up, JT?
How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Not from last night, but in general. Anyway, I want to talk about the Eagles and Nick Sirianni. What do you guys think this game this Sunday means to him and his job? And I also wanted to bring up that from the 2021 coaching class, 5 of the 7 coaches have been fired, and the only 2 left are Sirianni and Dan Campbell. How much does this Sunday matter to his job security?
Well, if they lose to the Cleveland Browns, they might pull the trigger. I got to be honest with you.
I think there's no reason not to.
Yeah, if they lose to the Browns, I mean, this is such a, what are they, 7.5-point favorites in this game?
I've seen it as high as 8.5.
Yeah, if they lose to this team, it is possible that they would think about it. I don't think
they do it, though.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to lose to this team. They got their personnel back. I think they're going to go on a run here, and that's going to save his job.
Well, all we could do is hope and pray.
Well, you want Sirianni out of there, huh?
Not that I want him out. I just wanted him to do something.
What do you want him to do?
Man.
He already got. Rob Thompson has his personality. This guy has his personality. He's a silly ass. He's
core values.
He's a happy high school Harry.
Dog
my man.
mentality.
Yes, sir. So
we need to win games. So
all right, buddy.
I don't want my man Sirianni catching strays today. We're mad at the Phillies
not
today.
doing a good enough job.
But I will say, even if they lost to the Browns, which I don't expect to happen, I don't think they would fire him. Not this early.
If they lost to the Browns at home?
I don't think they would do it this early.
Oh,
they lose to the Browns, buddy.
I think the Heat would be on if they lost to the Browns. I really do.
Look, it's going to be a moot point. They're not losing to this team. Browns are terrible. We'll handicap that game tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. We will. I'm re-looking at this Phillies game and where they had chances, and I just can't. I just can't fathom it.
Well, they had chances in every game. They really, the 6th inning in both games, they had the pitcher on the hook. They let him off
last night. All right, let's go. We got some text. We got another text. Go ahead, hit that text.
All right, Jeff from Newark. I want to clear this up, guys. I'm not ignoring your text. It's not a personal thing. We just got a lot of people upset. But Jeff from Newark really wanted to get this point across. We got a couple of texts that he wants to make sure you know that Rob Thompson and this era of managing, making his players feel comfortable, it reminds him of Danny Ozark. How'd that work out? Make sure you read this to him and get Mike's reaction.
Danny Ozark. I saw that guy tweet. He tweeted. I saw him tweet that. No. That's Danny Ozark. He kind of let those players play too, because that was the kind of team it was. And then Dallas Green changed the power. I guess what he's thinking, you need a change to the paradigm. and now have a Dallas Green type come in there. But Dallas Green managers don't win anymore. That species is gone.
I don't think you have to be as aggressive as Dallas Green was, but Charlie Manuel had no problem calling guys out.
Yeah.
Rob Thompson's mentality, and look, I still think he comes back. I'm not suggesting that you fire Thompson, but maybe he also needs to reevaluate his approach with these players. And you bring in some new blood into that clubhouse. You got to change something. You can't run it back again. You tried it, didn't work.
Dave in South Jersey. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic, Davey.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Sorry, let me take it off speaker. All right. All righty. Phil's problem. Where do we start? They can't score.
Nope.
Right? JT. He's shot.
He looked pretty shot. Now, that's a long season for a catcher, so, he's not going anywhere, so I can't do anything about that.
He also had that knee procedure done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my 6-hole hitter can't go 0 for 13.
No, you're right. He didn't help,
right.
and he rally killed a couple of times.
Nolan Arenado, he's also shot. I agree with you a couple phone calls back. This is the problem. You go back to the 08 team. You got Brett Myers, Cole Hamels, Ryan Madsen, Howard, Pat Burrell, J-Roll, Utley, all from the farm.
Yeah.
What do you got for this team?
You get Stott and Bohm.
And Rojas, right?
And Rojas.
I can't think of another one.
Yeah, but they filled in. I mean, they filled in strategically.
Right.
They just didn't do it with their outfield this year.
Right.
We kind of knew. Like that outfield, once they moved Schwarber to DH, we kind of knew about that outfield was feeble, and maybe the general manager should have done a better job with that.
Exactly. Dombrowski.
Yeah.
Matt Vierling would look pretty nice right now for Gregory Soto, huh?
I guess.
Batting three. He's batting three for Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on 4 times the other day. Yesterday.
You talking about Matt Vierling?
Yeah, I'm talking about Matt Vierling.
Yeah, you had me till there.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
Matt Vierling.
I just like that now it's a nice, safe place to criticize Dombrowski, because for months I was killed for criticizing the greatest president of baseball operations in the history of the game.
I thought that was a really good deal, Vierling, getting Soto for Vierling. Hard-throwing lefty. They needed that to turn that bullpen around to get hard throwers, and it just went bad for him. But here's the 6th inning. This is the killer. Harper doubles to start off the inning. Castellanos strikes out. You got to put the ball in play there. You're up 1-0. You get the second run to third base. So after he strikes out, Bohm walks. It's still not at third. It's first and second. And here comes JT. And he strikes out swinging. That's the end of story. They bring in Peterson to pitch a Stott, and that's the end.
But it's almost identical to Game 3.
It is. And in the bottom of the 6th, there goes the grand slam. Bye. So maybe if you get up 2-0 there, maybe the paradigm changes a little bit. But that 6th inning was the whole killer. Let's go to Brendan in Pittsburgh. What's up, Brendan?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm a new caller, but I just wanted to call in, express some of my frustrations a little bit. I'm at the University of Pittsburgh. I was watching this game during my accounting class. Had the game up. Had a Mets fan 2 rows above me. I saw him smirking, so it pissed me off a good bit. But I just wanted to get your opinions on what you think we should do next. I feel like, Rob Thompson, we're kind of in a position now where, it's been 3 years with this core. I mean, nearly 4 years. And we have nothing to really show for it. And it's just been a decline since the World Series. I feel like we're criticizing, Nick Sirianni for the collapse. And we haven't really been criticizing Rob, at least in my opinion, or Topper is what we call him, enough for, the last 2 collapses.
Bill has. Bill's a Thompson hater. Bill hates Thompson. So you ask what changes are being made, which leads to today's closing argument.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit lowenthalabrams.com.
All right, this is Mike Missanelli, and here's my closing argument. When a team goes out in practically their first round, it was their first round, and they go out to a hot team like New York Mets in 4 games, you cannot come back and run it back again. You can't do it. You got to make some changes somewhere. Would the manager's job be in jeopardy here? I think it might be, because Dave Dombrowski didn't hire him. And maybe he sees that this is the end of the run for Rob Thompson, and they need some kind of new energy. In addition to that, I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it does, I wouldn't be shocked. But what they have to do is also change the landscape of what they are. So guys that are starters now may have to go. Could it be Alec Boehm? Yes, it very well could be Alec Boehm. Could it be Nick Castellanos? It very well could be Nick Castellanos. Those are the two tradable contracts. Other than that, you really can't do much, except you got to figure out guys that you can pitch in the bullpen. Their starting rotation, okay, they come back with Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, Suarez next year. That's a pretty good start. You need a fifth starter. Maybe that happens with Painter. I don't know. But they have to change the paradigm. They have to change it with a couple of positions, maybe third base, maybe right field, to get some additional players that will give more balance to their lineup. And so all's not lost for the Phillies. They're still the shell of a pretty good team. It's just now you got to be really savvy in adding the right players that won't give you the unbalance that you felt in this series. So that's today's closing argument.
Well said, Michael. I couldn't agree with you more on that. And as much as I've been critical of Rob Thompson, he's not the move I'm making. I'm giving him one more shot to come back, but I'm giving him some new players, some new blood in that clubhouse. And you're right. I think it's got to be Boehm at third, Castellanos in right field. He'll bring back something. And I don't want to see Brandon Marsh ever again. Do something different. You can't run it back. Dombrowski, show me how good you are.
How about if he cuts his hair and shaves his beard?
Still don't want him back. Too many strikeouts.
It's a different Brandon Marsh. You won't even recognize him.
How about you just trade him?
Better approach at the plate.
Yeah, comes back with a whole new, refreshed look.
No.
No more beard balm.
What about Alec Boehm? Would you bring him back if he shaved his head?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not bringing him back.
Maybe Strom, too. Maybe time for a clip.
I don't think Middleton.
For Stromy.
I know we're running out, but I just don't think Middleton will sign off on firing Thompson, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, we shall see. It's been a sad day in Philadelphia, folks, and we're happy that you came through this with us. Baseball season is over. Tomorrow is football Friday. Oh, the Eagles and then the Sixers have to salvage our fair hometown. Everybody have a great rest of the night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Coach in the world.